Chapter 405. Of course, there's also you. Didn't I come directly to the Violet Gold Palace? It's just that I didn't see you earlier. Ji said in an adaptable manner. That's good. Qi Ling was delighted. Her face was slightly red. Let's continue the topic. Ji turned to look at Murong Zili. Although I've joined the Kanglan Palace, I'm not under their control. Besides, you're not the target of the Kanglan Palace. You don't have to worry. I came back this time just to see them. As for whether or not Mansion Master Murong believes me, I can only say that it will depend on what you think. Murong Zili fell into a short silence. She couldn't tell that Ji was lying at all. However, her sharp intuition told her that Ji was still hiding something. I believe you. After a moment of silence, Murong Zili said. To her, it didn't matter what Ji was hiding. As long as Ji didn't do anything harmful to the Qinyuan Palace, it was fine. Hearing that Ji wasn't affected by anything bad, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. As for Qi Ling, she had never heard of the Kanglan Palace. She didn't understand what Ji was talking about at all. Ji, what's the Kanglan Palace? Qi Ling asked curiously. How should I put it? Anyway, it's a very powerful force. You don't have to worry so much. Ji said perfunctorily. Since Qi Ling didn't know what the Kanglan Palace was, it was best that she didn't know about it in the future. That way, there would be one less person to worry about him. Oh, although the atmosphere was a little strange, Qi Ling didn't continue to care about the Kanglan Palace since Ji said so. As if nothing had happened, Ji accompanied them to play for the entire afternoon. At this time, Ji saw that the sky was gradually darkening. All right, it's about time for me to head back. With that, Ji held Xiao Gu's hand and prepared to leave. Ji. At this time, Jiang Yuexin stopped Ji. Can't my sister and I go with you? That won't do. You'd better stay in the Qianyuan martial house. Ji said. But Jiang Yuexin still wanted to say something, but she was interrupted by Jiang Yuechu. Yuexin, don't be stubborn, Jiang Yuechu advised. Ji joining the Azure Water Branch Hall? There must be something important that is hard to talk about. Ji just smiled. In fact, the most important thing had already been done, but he didn't mention it. Now that he was the Azure Water Branch Hall master, it was not convenient for him to reveal everything. After all, there was still the mysterious and unknown evolving temple. At least for now, everything was fine, and that was enough. Before leaving, Ji suddenly thought of something. Estate Master Murong, I'm a bit curious. There should be something special about your eyes, right? He immediately said to Murong Zili. Why do you think so? Murong Zili asked without any change in expression. Because Estate Master saw through my cultivation with a glance. That's why I thought so. Ji naturally replied. So, it's like that. Murong Zili paused for a moment and said, That's right. This Estate Master's eyes is a rather special bloodline eye technique. Then can Estate Master teach me? Ji said. Murong Zili's pupil shrunk. This Estate Master can't teach you because you don't have the same bloodline as this Estate Master. Murong Zili replied indifferently. So it's like that. I understand. Ji said. Then I asked Estate Master Murong to give me a drop of essence blood. What came out of his mouth with such a calm tone was something incredible. So, this is your goal? Murong Zili's voice gradually turned cold. Of course not. Didn't I say that I came back this time to see them? Ji said helplessly. If Estate Master Murong isn't willing, then forget it. I won't force you. If she could obtain Estate Master Murong's essence blood, Ji would be able to obtain Murong Clan Master's bloodline through the system. First, she needed the bloodline. Then, she could cultivate the bloodline eye technique Amethyst Eyes. As for the first half of the Amethyst Eyes cultivation manual, Estate Master Murong should have it. Now that she had the blood essence and the first half of the cultivation manual, Ji could start cultivating the amethyst pupil. But looking at the current situation, Estate Master Murong probably wouldn't be willing to give her the essence blood. Although Estate Master Murong's expression didn't change, Ji could see that Estate Master Murong didn't seem to be very willing. It would be best if it was possible. If it wasn't, then it didn't matter. Besides feeling a bit regretful, Ji didn't have any other thoughts. Chapter 406. Right at this moment, Ji suddenly heard Murong Manor Master's mental communication. You want blood essence, right? It's not that I can't give it to you. However, I want you to agree to a condition. Hearing this, Ji immediately replied through mental communication. What condition? That is to help Ling get rid of the Qi family's name. Ling is too kind and has a deep psychological shadow. She can't do anything to her father and brother. So, she only wants to get rid of the Qi family's name and completely sever her relationship with her father and brother. It's not convenient for me to do this right now, so I can only rely on you. If you agree to this condition, I can give you the blood essence you want right now. Apart from Xiaogu, no one else could hear the mental communication between Ji Yu and Murong Zili. Xiaogu didn't understand what Ji Yu and Murong Zili were talking about at all, so he didn't interrupt. I can agree, Ji Yu replied almost without hesitation. All right, then come here, Murong Zili said. Hearing this, Ji Yu immediately walked towards Murong Zili. What should I do next? Just as Ji Yu was about to ask this question, suddenly Murong Zili reached out and grabbed his lapel, pulling his entire body over. Before Ji Yu could react, he felt a cool and soft sensation on his lips. At this moment, Murong Zili lightly bit the tip of her tongue and sent the blood essence through their lips. Ji was dumbfounded. Giving him blood essence was actually so stimulating. At the same time, a notification came from the system. Ding! The host has obtained the blood essence of a direct descendant of the Murong family, triggering 999 times absorption ability. At this moment, Ji Yu's blood changed quite a bit. He could feel that there was already a part of the Murong family's blood in his body. Moreover, it was the purest direct descendant's blood. Jiang Yuechu, Jiang Yuexin, and Qi Ling, Er's reactions were even more intense. The three women were dumbstruck at this shocking scene. Done. At this time, Murong Zili pushed Ji Yu away again. At the same time, she stuffed a storage ring into Ji Yu's hand. Remember your promise. After speaking, Murong Zili slowly walked away. Only when Murong Zili was far away did Ji Yu, who was in a daze, return to her senses. Ji Yu. At this time, Jiang Yuexin said angrily, this has nothing to do with me. It was the manor head who forced me. Ji Yu said awkwardly. He had never thought that Manor Master Murong would use such a method to pass his blood essence to him. As expected of you, even the manor head's master has been tainted by you. Jiang Yuechu laughed coldly. It really has nothing to do with me. Ji Yu said helplessly. Didn't you see how scared I was just now? No matter what, Master definitely wouldn't do that kind of thing with you for no reason. Jiang Yuexin said with a flushed face, You definitely did something. Qi Ling covered her eyes shyly. She was so shocked that she couldn't say anything. As for Xiaogu, she didn't have any thoughts about what had just happened. What's so strange about that? Xiaogu said matter-of-factly. Isn't this a very normal thing? I've done it with Ji Yu before. At this moment, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin were both speechless. You've also kissed Ji Yu before? Jiang Yuexin stuttered as she looked at Xiaogu in shock. Can I say that was also an accident? At this moment, Ji Yu interjected. However, no one paid him any attention. Oh, so that's called kissing. Xiaogu nodded and said, That's right. I've already kissed Ji Yu before. Don't tell me you haven't done it before. I've kissed him a long time ago. Jiang Yuexin said shyly in a soft voice. So it's not? I really don't understand what's so surprising about that. Xiaogu shook her head slowly. Upon hearing Xiaogu's words, Jiang Yuexin was rendered speechless. Chapter 407. Although Jiang Yuechu did not say anything, she was very concerned about what Xiaogu said just now. Her younger sister and Xiaogu had kissed Ji Yu before, but she had not done so yet. Thinking of this, Jiang Yuechu felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. She decided that if she had the chance in the future, she would do the same thing as Ji Yu. No matter what, she was already engaged to Ji Yu. She was Ji Yu's fiancée. It was not right that she had not done that before. At this time, Qi Ling had already recovered from her shock. Like Jiang Yuechu, she was also very concerned about it. However, she did not have the guts to do so. Now, it was already very good that Qi Ling could look Ji Yu in the eyes and speak normally. She was completely unable to do such a bold thing like kissing. Oh, right. At this time, Jiang Yuexin pointed the question at Ji Yu. How could you do that to such a young girl? Didn't I just say that it was an accident? Ji Yu said awkwardly. Who would believe your nonsense? It was an accident every time. Jiang Yuexin did not believe Ji Yu's nonsense at all. It was really an accident. Ji Yu did not know whether to laugh or cry. He suddenly remembered that he was not the one who initiated the kiss every time. It was either a forced kiss or an accident. It was not his fault at all. Well, I have to go back. See you next time. Ji Yu changed the topic directly. Since they were going to say goodbye, Jiang Yuexin did not want to say anything more. Remember to come back and visit us often. Jiang Yuechu said to Ji Yu with a smile. Okay. Ji Yu also smiled slightly. Then, he left the Qinyuan Marshal Mansion with Xiaogu. Ding! The host has performed the Earth Rank medium-level movement technique, Instantaneous Thunder. Instantaneous Thunder has gained 999 times the experience. Ding! Host has performed the Earth-ranked mid-level movement skill, Flash of Thunder. Flash of Thunder has gained 999 times the experience. Ding! Congratulations to the host. The Earth-rank medium-grade Lightning Flash has successfully broken through to the Greater Perfection stage. Ding! It has been detected that Lightning Flash has reached the Perfection stage, automatically upgraded to the superior Earth-ranked movement technique, Shadowless Lightning Flash. Ji Yu immediately used her movement technique and led Xiaogu to that remote place where there was no one around. Along the way, his movement technique had also broken through to the Perfection stage and upgraded to the superior Earth-rank Shadowless Lightning Flash. After arriving here, Ji Yu could ask Xiaogu to fly her back to the Azure Water Branch Hall. Not long after, Ji Yu and Xiaogu returned to the Deep Sea Branch Hall. Lord Palace Master. Lord Palace Master. On the way back to the residence, everyone who saw Ji Yu, be it ordinary disciples, deacons, or guardians, would greet her respectfully without exception. After returning to the residence to rest, Ji Yu began to think about something. It was the condition that he had agreed to with Mansion Master Moro. Since he had agreed to it, he would definitely deal with the matter regarding Qi Ling. However, he had a plan how to deal with it first. After all, Ji Yu is now the Palace Master of the Deep Sea Branch Hall. She could not leave the branch for too long. Suddenly, an idea flashed through Ji Yu's mind. He had thought a very good idea. That was to slightly edit the matter regarding Qi Ling, and post it as a mission in the Bounty Hall. That way, he would be able to deal with the matter legitimately. Next, I should try to cultivate the purple glazed eyes bloodline. With that thought in mind, Ji Yu took out the storage ring that Mansion Master Morong had given her. It was a jade blue storage ring that emitted a faint fragrance. Ding! Host has activated his spiritual power to open the storage ring. Silver level spiritual power. Experience gained. 1 by 999 times. After opening the storage ring, she found that there was only a scroll inside. Obviously, this was the cultivation manual for the first half of the purple glazed eyes bloodline. Ding! Host has taken a look at the cultivation manual for the purple glazed eyes bloodline. 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have successfully mastered the purple glazed eyes bloodline. After taking out the scroll and taking a look, Ji Yu had mastered the purple glazed eyes bloodline. At this moment, his eyes changed. His black pupils did not change. Instead, the iris around his pupils gradually turned into a purple glazed eyes bloodline. At the junction between the white of his eyes and the iris, there was a faint glazed eyes bloodline. At this moment, Ji Yu realized that the world in front of him was very different from before. Whether it was the dust on the ground or the tiny bugs in the cracks of the walls, he could see everything clearly. In other words, Ji Yu's eyesight had improved significantly. Moreover, Ji Yu could activate and deactivate the purple glazed eyes bloodline on his own. When he thought about it, his eyes returned to normal. When he thought about it again, his eyes immediately changed again. Ding! Host has activated the Bloodline Eye technique, purple, glazed pupil. Experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Host. The purple glazed eyes bloodline has successfully broken through to the thoroughly meticulous realm. When GU activated the purple glazed eyes bloodline again, the purple glazed eyes bloodline instantly broke through to the next realm. Chapter 408. Through the first half of the purple glazed pupil bloodline cultivation manual. You learned the different levels of the purple glazed pupil, being meticulous and observing the chi as if it was real. These are the first 2 levels recorded in the first half of the manual. Actually, the purple glazed pupil had a total of 4 levels, but only the second half of the manual recorded how to cultivate the last 2 levels. Seeing through illusion, purple glaze transformation. These were the last 2 levels. First was the first level, meticulous. Actually, it was to strengthen one's eyesight. One could see further and clearer, and one's observation ability would become stronger. Now, GU's purple glazed pupil had reached the meticulous level. His eyesight was even better than before. Everything around him became clearer and brighter. Even the veins on the trees outside the house could be seen clearly. However, his current ability was still very average. GU planned to cultivate the purple glazed pupil to the second level, which was the aura observation level. Ding! Host has read the purple glazed pupil cultivation manual for 1 minute. Purple glazed pupil experience points gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Host has read the purple glazed pupil cultivation manual for 1 minute. Purple glazed pupil experience points gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Host. Your bloodline purple glazed pupil has successfully broken through to the aura observation level. After about an hour, GU cultivated the purple glazed pupil to the second level, aura observation. At this moment, he realized that he could actually see the xian qi that permeated the air like thin threads intersecting each other. Xian qi was originally illusory and could not be seen with the naked eye. But now, it was clearly displayed in front of GU's eyes. Without a doubt, this was the effect of cultivating the purple glazed pupil to the aura observation level. According to the description in the first half of the secret manual, when the purple glazed pupil reached the second level, the effect of cultivating xian qi would be greatly improved. He didn't know if it was true or not. In order to verify it, GU immediately began to cultivate. At this moment, he realized that he was more sensitive to the xian qi around him. Simply put, it was easier for him to absorb the xian qi around him. Ding! Host has cultivated xian qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained. 200 by 999 times. Ding! Host has cultivated xian qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained. 200 by 999 times. Compared to before, the effects of GU's xian qi cultivation had doubled. Moreover, this was only the first stage of observing qi as real. There were a total of 3 stages in the realm of qi observation. The higher the stage, the stronger the effect of cultivating xian qi. However, it would take a lot of time to reach the second stage. It was getting late. GU didn't want to continue for the time being. He planned to continue cultivating the amethyst pupil in the future. At this moment, GU looked at Xiaogu, who was sitting beside her and eating candy. He suddenly remembered that he hadn't bought new clothes for Xiaogu yet. All this time, he had always let Xiaogu wear his own clothes. Xiaogu, I'll take you to buy some clothes now. GU said, Clothes? I don't care about those things. Xiaogu said calmly, It's enough to wear your clothes. Let's buy a few sets to try first. As he said that, GU pulled Xiaogu's hand and prepared to leave the room. All right. Xiaogu didn't have any objections and allowed GU to pull her along. Very soon, Jiyu brought Xiao Gu to the Azure Water Branch Hall's trading center. The trading center was naturally the area where all kinds of things were traded. Those who set up shops and stalls here were all from the Azure Water Branch Hall. This was because the Azure Water Branch Hall didn't trade with external merchants or powers. Jiyu brought Xiao Gu into a shop that looked decent. It specialized in selling clothes. Hall Master. The hall master of the shop was stunned when he saw Jiyu walk in. Then he exclaimed in shock. Jiyu saw that the other party was a youth and an ordinary disciple. She nodded slightly. I'm here to buy a set of clothes. Hall Master, please come in. That youth hurriedly said respectfully. Jiyu followed the youth into the shop. Hall Master, do you want to buy clothes for yourself? The youth asked. No. Jiyu looked at Xiao Gu. I want to buy clothes for her. Her? The youth slowly looked at the little girl beside the hall master. He suddenly recalled that he heard 2 days ago that the hall master had a terrifyingly powerful little girl by his side. Could it be this girl in front of him? Regardless of whether it was true or not, he didn't dare to delay and immediately helped these two important figures choose clothes. Jiyu wasn't in a hurry either. But after a while, he realized that this shop didn't seem to have many clothes for children. That person only found a few sets after searching for so long. Chapter 409. Palace Master, please take a look. At this moment, that youth had picked out a few sets of clothes and showed them to Jiyu. Jiyu took a look and felt that white and blue matched Xiao Gu well. Then, she picked out a white and a blue and white dress. How many points do these 2 sets of clothes cost? Jiyu directly asked about the price. No need, no need. That youth shook his head and said, Palace Master, you can just take them away. As an ordinary disciple, it was already the fortune of 3 lifetimes to be able to see the Palace Master. How would he dare to ask the Palace Master for points? Jiyu didn't hesitate. Since the other party didn't want them, then she didn't want them. After returning to the room, Jiyu first let Xiao Gu try on the blue and white dress. Xiao Gu looked at the dress in her hands with disdain. She was obviously very unwilling. This kind of dress will definitely be very uncomfortable. I clearly only need to wear your clothes. Xiao Gu said, Say, don't you have aesthetic standards? Jiyu said, You'll definitely look better wearing this blue and white dress than wearing my clothes. Aesthetic standards? What's that? I don't need it. Xiao Gu shook her head and said, In any case, just wear it. After you wear it, I'll give you candy to eat. Jiyu said, the best way to make Xiao Gu listen to her was to tempt her with candy. You have candy? Xiao Gu was delighted. Then, she reluctantly agreed. All right then. Xiao Gu quickly took off her original clothes and changed into the blue and white dress. Because it was her first time wearing this kind of dress, she was very unfamiliar with it. Moreover, she had to be careful not to use too much force. Otherwise, it would easily tear the clothes. After a long time, Jiyu even helped her a little. Finally, she was done changing. At this moment, Jiyu sized her up. Her taste was indeed correct. Xiao Gu obviously looked much more lively and cute in this dress than before. All right, can you give me candy now? Xiao Gu directly asked Jiyu. Jiyu immediately gave her a few candies. Only this little? That's too little. Xiao Gu was still not satisfied. Give me more. It's already so late, and don't eat too much candy today. I'll give it to you tomorrow. Jiyu refused. Forget it. Xiao Gu knew that he couldn't force it, so he gave up. Change back into my clothes when you go to bed at night, and wear these 2 dresses during the day. Jiyu urged. I know. It's so troublesome. Xiao Gu said unwillingly. It was also because she was eating candy that she didn't care too much about it. The next day, Xiao Gu obediently put on the blue and white dress. Jiyu was handling matters in the main hall, while Xiao Gu was sitting on his lap, as usual, eating sweets. Ding! The host has reviewed it for 1 minute. Silver level memory experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! The host has reviewed it for 1 minute. Silver level memory experience gained. 1 by 999 times. He quickly finished all the work for the day. Jiyu immediately issued a mission. It was a mission to suppress the Qi family. As for the mission information, Jiyu casually made it up. The Qi family of the Wanshan Empire was heartless and committed all kinds of crimes. Then, he accepted the mission himself. In this way, he could legitimately fulfill the promise he made to Mansion Master Morong. Moreover, Qi Ling, Er's scumbag father and brother. He had disliked them for a long time. After that, Jiyu immediately set off and returned to the Qianyuan martial mansion with Xiao Gu. At this moment, Jiyu was already in the purple gold main hall of the Qianyuan martial mansion. Inside the purple gold temple, there were only Jiyu and Murong Zili, two people. Jiang Yuechu, Jiang Yuexin, and Qi Ling happened to not be here. "You're back so soon?" Murong Zili asked. "I'm here to fulfill the promise I made to you. Also, I'll return this to you." With that, Jiyu returned the storage ring to Murong Zili. The storage ring contained the first half of the glazed amethyst pupil cultivation manual. "Have you memorized it?" Murong Zili couldn't help but ask in surprise when Jiyu returned the manual so quickly. Yes, Jiyu nodded. But in fact, what Murong Zili meant by "have you memorized it?" was asking if Jiyu had written down the contents of the secret book on paper. After all, it was unrealistic to cultivate the glazed amethyst pupil to the Qi observation realm in one day. Even she herself had taken a month to reach the realm of observing Qi as real. "Then I'll send someone to call Ling over now," Murong Zili said. About a few minutes later, Qi Ling arrived. "Jiyu, why are you looking for me? P.S. End of third update." Chapter 410. Wanshan Empire, Qi Clan. "I'm going to bring you there." Jiyu replied. "Qi Clan." Qi Ling, Er's face turned pale immediately. Those two words instantly reminded her of the terrifying past that was deeply imprinted in her heart. "Don't be afraid. I'm here. What are you afraid of?" Jiyu comforted her. "But how did you know about those things?" Qi Ling-er's expression was still unsightly. "Of course, Clan Master Murong told me," Jiyu replied. Qi Ling-er looked at Murong Zili and saw Murong Zili nodding silently. She did not say anything else. On the way out of the Qianyuan martial mansion with Jiyu, Qi Ling seemed to have a lot on her mind. Her father and brother. No, it should be said that they were scum. She hated them and was afraid of them at the same time. Not only that, but Qi Ling was also very concerned about one thing. And that was Jiyu. Qi Ling suddenly asked, "Why did you help me? Did my master ask you to do this, or who knows?" Jiyu did not answer her directly. Qi Ling fell silent again. Ding. Host has taken a step. Superior Earth Rank Movement Technique, Shadowless Lightning Flash. Obtained experience points. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has taken a step. Superior Earth Rank Movement Technique, Shadowless Lightning Flash. Obtained experience points. 1 by 999 times. Since Qi Ling-er's cultivation base was not high, she would not be able to withstand the pressure of flying with Xiao Gu. Jiyu brought them to the outside of the Qianyuan martial mansion and took a carriage. In the carriage, Qi Ling-er seemed to be absent-minded. Jiyu changed the topic. "By the way, how are you doing in the Qianyuan martial mansion?" "It's okay. I'm ranked second in the inner mansion. Yuechu and Yuexin have also become core disciples. Yuechu is ranked third in the inner mansion, while Yuexin is ranked fifth." Qi Ling said gloomily. "That's good." Ji was not good at chatting. She did not know what to talk about. "When we reach the Wanshan Empire, what do you plan to do with those two guys?" Ji didn't know what to talk about, so she decided to talk about business. The two fellows he was referring to were none other than Qi Ling-er's scumbag father and brother. I don't want to do anything to them," Qi Ling-er replied solemnly. "I just want to leave the Qi clan and never meet them again. Getting rid of the Qi family's name isn't difficult." Jiyu said in a relaxed tone, "You can rest assured and watch my performance." Qi Ling-er's mood gradually calmed down. However, the Qi family wasn't the main thing that made her absent-minded. It's Jiyu. The more Jiyu refused to talk about it, the more Qi Ling-er cared about it. Did Master ask Jiyu to do this? Or did Jiyu do this? Jiyu would never have thought that Qi Ling-er would be so conflicted about this matter. When he saw Qi Ling, Er's expression gradually calming down, he gave Xiao Gu some candy to calm it down before he started cultivating the purple glazed eyes. Ding! Host has read the Purple Glazed Eyes Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Eyes gained experience points, won by 999 times. Ding! Host has read the Purple Glazed Eyes Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Eyes gained experience points, won by 999 times. After some time, Jiyu sensed that the purple glazed eyes had reached the second stage of aura discernment. The xianqi of heaven and earth around him immediately became clearer, and he could see more xianqi lines. Jiyu tried to cultivate xianqi. Ding! Host has cultivated xianqi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience points, 300 by 999 times. Sure enough, the effect of cultivating xianqi improved by quite a bit. Soon, the carriage arrived at the place where they could take the spirit ship. The spirit ship in the royal city could travel to any place in the Kanglan Empire. It could even travel outside of the Kanglan Empire. Ji bought 2 tickets for a high-class room. He had asked Xiao Gu for her opinion, and she said that she didn't want to be separated from him, even if it was just a room apart. Therefore, he only needed 2 tickets. Ji Yu and Xiao Gu were in one room, while Qi Ling was in another. Chapter 411. Half a day later, in the spirit ship, they arrived at the borders of the Kanglan Empire from the royal city. The entire journey would take at least a few days. Although Qi Ling was in another room, she often liked to come to Ji Yu's room. "Don't you have your own room? Why do you keep coming to my room?" Seeing that Qi Ling had come to his room for the umpteenth time, Ji Yu couldn't help but ask, "I just want to come and see you more. Can I?" Qi Ling whispered shyly. In fact, she was more concerned about the girl named Xiao Gu. Being alone in a room with a man, she was afraid that Ji Yu and Xiao Gu would do something indescribable, although she knew that she didn't have the right to interfere with Ji Yu's actions. However, the thought of that kind of thing happening made her restless. However, even though she found a random excuse, she couldn't help but feel shy. "All right, do as you wish." Ji was a little speechless. In less than half a day, Qi Ling had come to his room several times. He didn't know what to say anymore. Ding! The host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. The Purple Glazed Pupil Experience Points gained, won by 999 times. Ding! The host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. The Purple Glazed Pupil Experience Points gained, won by 999 times. During the half a day on the spirit ship, Ji Yu had been cultivating the Purple Glazed Pupil Bloodline technique. Now, he had finally reached the 3rd stage of the Purple Glazed Pupil's Aura Observation Realm. After that, he would reach the 3rd major realm, seeing through illusion. However, Ji Yu didn't plan to start cultivating the 3rd major realm now. After all, at his current speed, if he wanted to break through to the 3rd seeing through illusion realm, he would need at least 2 to 3 days. He would rather use this time to improve his cultivation. Thinking of this, Ji Yu decided to use this opportunity to see how effective his celestial qi cultivation was. Ding! The host has cultivated celestial qi for 1 minute. The martial arts cultivation experience points gained, 1,000 by 999 times. Ding! Host has cultivated xianqi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 1,000 by 999 times. After a while, Ji Yu could clearly feel the effects of her cultivation increasing. However, part of the reason for this was that the quality of the profound energy in the high-grade rooms of the spirit ship was much higher than in the outside world. If he wasn't in a high-level room right now, in that case, the amount of experience he gained per minute should be 500 by 999 times. Even so, the effect of cultivating xianqi was 5 times better than before he comprehended the amethyst pupil. At this time, the sky outside had already darkened. Coincidentally, the amethyst eyes had also made a breakthrough. Ji Yu decided to go to bed first. It was also at this moment that he realized that Xiao Gu had already fallen asleep on his lap. She used his legs as a pillow. Ji smiled. Then, he gently helped Xiao Gu up and carried her to the bed. As for himself, he was lying outside the bed. Xiao Gu's sleeping posture had always been very bad. There wasn't a single day when he slept peacefully. If he let her sleep outside, by the next day, it was very likely that she would sleep under the bed. So now, Ji was sleeping outside the bed. In this way, no matter how bad Xiao Gu's sleeping posture was, it wouldn't be too bad. After a while, Xiao Gu's bad sleeping posture was reflected. She rolled and directly rolled onto Ji Yu's body, and her position was opposite to Ji Yu's. Xiao Gu's foot stepped on Ji Yu's chin. How could Ji Yu tolerate this? He immediately moved her restless foot away. Otherwise, if Xiao Gu accidentally kicked him hard later, his chin would be in trouble. Right at this moment, as Ji Yu's attention was focused on Xiao Gu, he didn't notice that the door of the room was secretly opened by Qi Ling. After all, apart from Qi Ling, he didn't give anyone else the key to this room. It was also because of this that Ji Yu didn't expect that someone would barge in so late at night. At this moment, Qi Ling secretly opened the door of the room. Then, she quietly walked into the room, still holding a pillow in her hand. The room was pitch black, and almost nothing could be seen. When Qi Ling slowly crept to Ji Yu's bedside, Ji Yu only realized that someone had barged into the room and instantly became alert. However, when he realized that it was Qi Ling, he immediately relaxed. But in the next moment, he realized that his and Xiao Gu's positions it was too late. Standing beside Ji Yu's bed, Qi Ling couldn't see clearly, although it was still very dark. However, she could roughly see Ji Yu's and Xiao Gu's current positions. Especially in such a blurry situation, this posture was very awkward. Chapter 412. Upon hearing Qi Ling's voice, Ji Yu immediately realized that something was amiss. Don't misunderstand. It's her bad sleeping posture. Ji Yu immediately explained, if you don't believe me, you can turn on the lights. Turn on the lights? Qi Ling lost her grip on the pillow, and it fell to the ground. It was one thing for Ji Yu to do that to Xiao Gu, but he actually wanted her to turn on the lights. At this moment, Ji Yu felt that the situation was getting worse. He decided not to explain and put Xiao Gu back to her original position. Then he turned on the oil lamp. Did you see that? We didn't do anything. As he said that, Ji Yu noticed that Qi Ling's face had turned red. Qi Ling gradually regained her consciousness after hearing Ji Yu's words. She looked at Xiao Gu and then at Ji Yu's lower body. After a while, she realized that nothing had happened. Only then did the redness on his face gradually fade. What about you? Why did you come here so late at night instead of sleeping? At this moment, Ji Yu sized up Qi Ling. He realized that Qi Ling was only wearing a thin nightgown. Her exquisite figure was perfectly accentuated. Ji Yu's heartbeat quickened as he watched. Then, Ji Yu saw the pillow that had fallen to the ground. The pillow on his bed was still there. Then, this pillow, was it brought here by Qi Ling? At this moment, Qi Ling did not say anything. She picked up the pillow with a red face. Then, she climbed onto the bed without saying anything. What are you doing? Ji Yu was stunned. Why did this guy run to her bed for no reason? Qi Ling quickly lay down in the middle of the bed and shyly covered the lower half of her face with the blanket. You pervert. I can't let you do anything to Xiao Gu, she said in a soft voice. Qi Ling was worried about Ji Yu sleeping with Xiao Gu, so she sneaked into the room to supervise Ji Yu. But in fact, this was only one of the reasons. The other reason was that she also wanted to sleep with Ji Yu, but she was too embarrassed to say it out loud. However, he had just witnessed such a scene. Even if she was the one who had misunderstood Zhang Xian, she couldn't help but feel even more worried. Therefore, she was even more determined to sleep here. Don't mess around. Why would I attack Xiao Gu? Ji Yu blushed with shame and said, Go back to your room obediently. It's already so late. It's time to sleep. No, I'll just sleep here. Qi Ling whispered. Ji Yu didn't expect that Qi Ling would actually plan to sleep here. If you sleep here, Where will I sleep? Ji pointed at Qi Ling, and then at herself. You, why don't you come up and sleep with me? I'll sleep in the middle. Qi Ling, said embarrassedly. He almost covered his entire face with the blanket. Oh, that's not impossible. On the other hand, not only was Ji not embarrassed at all, she even put out the oil lamp with a calm expression and lay down on the bed. Seeing Ji calm expression, Qi Ling suddenly felt a little flustered for some reason. She suspected that Ji's wild nature was about to erupt. However, the reality was Ji fell asleep not long after lying on the bed. Qi Ling panicked for a while, but she didn't feel Ji's movements anymore. She couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. Then, she leaned over to take a look at Ji. She was surprised to find that Ji had fallen asleep so quickly. Ji didn't have any thoughts or actions. As for himself, his imagination was running wild, thinking about those messy scenes. Qi Ling instantly felt embarrassed and shy. She couldn't help but want to crawl under the blanket. After a long time, she finally calmed down a little. Then, Qi Ling felt a little regretful. She was lying next to Ji and being so close to Ji. It made her feel as if there was a little deer in her heart, and she couldn't sleep at all. Now, Qi Ling finally understood why Ji and Xiaogu were in such a position just now. Xiaogu was really like what Ji said. She had a bad sleeping posture. She liked to squeeze over to her side. Although Xiaogu didn't use much force in her sleep, Qi Ling couldn't squeeze past Xiaogu. Just like that, she was squeezed toward Ji by Xiaogu. In a few moments, Qi Ling and Ji touched each other. She was instantly very shy. The more she was squeezed, the more intimate the touch was. She wanted to struggle, but she didn't dare to. She was afraid that she would accidentally wake Ji up. After a long time, Xiaogu finally returned to her original position. Qi Ling who was so shy that she was about to cry, heaved a sigh of relief. However, before her rapid breathing could calm down, Xiaogu squeezed over again. This repeated for an entire night. Qi Ling was tortured. For the entire night, she didn't sleep well at all. Chapter 413. The next day, as soon as Ji woke up, she noticed that Qi Ling was not in a good state of mind. What happened to you? Did you not sleep well? Ji asked. Nothing. Qi Ling was too embarrassed to say it out loud. She did not want to think about anything else now. All she wanted was to have a good sleep. Coincidentally, Xiaogu woke up as well. Qi Ling did not have to worry about being woken up by Xiaogu's fracture. Although Ji did not understand what was wrong with Qi Ling, she did not disturb her and allowed her to sleep on her bed. After that, Ji started to cultivate his celestial qi. The effect of cultivating celestial qi on the spirit ship was very good, so he planned to make a breakthrough in his cultivation. Ding! Host has cultivated celestial qi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation experience points gained. 1,000 by 999 times. Ding! Host has cultivated celestial qi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation experience points gained. 1,000 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations to Host. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to mastery level 9 of the Tongxian realm. In less than a day, Jiu had made a breakthrough in his cultivation. Unknowingly, he was about to reach the spirit profound realm. Jiu could not help but sigh. Although he was only a step away from the spirit profound realm, he was still at the peak of mastery level 9 of the Tongxian realm. In fact, even he could not predict how long it would take for him to break through to the spirit profound realm. He could only take it one step at a time. It was only at this moment that Qi Ling finally woke up. You slept so soundly. You slept all the way until nighttime. Ji looked out of the window and saw that the sky was darkening. She could not help but smile. It's all your fault. Qi Ling pouted shyly as she muttered under her breath. Ji did not hear what Qi Ling was muttering, but she did not care. It's already so late. Why don't we go and have something to eat? Ji said. Wait, I'll go back and change my clothes first. Qi Ling immediately got up and arranged the blanket and pillows on the bed. Jiyu found that Qi Ling-er's thin pajamas looked even more revealing than last night. In order to avoid awkwardness, he chose to look away. After tidying up the quilt and pillows, Qi Ling-er finally realized how unsightly she looked. She immediately turned around to look at Jiyu and found that Jiyu was looking somewhere else. She immediately let out a sigh of relief, but there was an inexplicable sense of regret in her heart. Qi Ling-er shook her head and hurried back to her room to change her clothes. Jiyu was not in a hurry, so she waited patiently. After a long while, Qi Ling-er came back after changing her clothes. I just don't understand why you humans like to wear those messy clothes. Qi Ling-er's meticulous dressing made Xiao Gu shake her head. She felt that this was completely gaudy and meaningless. It was not as comfortable as not wearing clothes. If you don't understand, then don't speak. Jiyu casually tossed a few candies to Xiao Gu, and Xiao Gu immediately shut up obediently. Qi Ling-er stood there and did not speak. She looked at Jiyu expectantly. It was as if she was waiting for Jiyu to say something. However, Jiyu and Qi Ling-er looked at each other for a long time. It was only then that Jiyu suddenly said, "Why? Let's go." Qi Ling did not expect that Jiyu would have such a reaction. Could it be that you have something else to say? Seeing that Qi Ling was still standing there, Jiyu thought for a while and asked. "Forget it." Qi Ling sighed in her heart. She forced a smile on her face and said, "Nothing. Let's go." Jiyu suddenly felt that Qi Ling seemed to be a little depressed. However, he could not figure out why, so he simply stopped thinking about it. Although the spirit ship would provide daily food, it would not be sent to every room. The passengers had to get it themselves. At this time, it was evening and time for dinner. There were many people who came to get food. Jiyu, who was waiting in line, inadvertently found that there were many people dressed as alchemists around. Moreover, these people's soul power was stronger than ordinary people. They should be alchemists indeed. Logically speaking, under normal circumstances, there should not be so many alchemists on a spirit ship. Although there were many alchemists in the Kanglan Empire, that was because the population of the entire Kanglan Empire was very large. The actual proportion was not even 1 in 1,000. However, right now, judging from these people who were getting food, more than half of them were alchemists. It was definitely not a coincidence that so many alchemists were on the same spirit ship. Moreover, this was a spirit ship from the royal city to the Kanglan Empire. Why did so many alchemists in the royal city go to the Kanglan Empire? What was going on? Chapter 414. When Jiyu first boarded the spirit ship, he didn't notice that there were so many alchemists on the ship. Then he casually found an alchemist to ask about it. Only then did he find out that King City of the Wanshan Empire was recruiting alchemists from the Kanglan Empire in large numbers and promised generous benefits. The most popular occupation in the Wanshan Empire seemed to be beast tamers, and alchemists were considered to be less popular there. However, the royal family of the Wanshan Empire wanted to develop alchemists. The Kanglan Empire was the neighbor of the Wanshan Empire, and it happened to be one of the most prosperous empires for alchemists. However, there were too many alchemists in the Kanglan Empire, especially in places like King City, where competition was high. Many of the more average alchemists even had problems making ends meet. In order to survive, many alchemists from the Kanglan Empire's King City flocked to the Wanshan Empire. If they wanted to go to the Wanshan Empire, they naturally had to leave the country first. That was why so many alchemists boarded the spirit ship to the Kanglan Empire. Ji wasn't very interested in the Wanshan Empire's recruitment of alchemists. The purpose of his trip was only to help Qi Ling get rid of the Qi family's name. After receiving the food, Ji returned to his room with Qi Ling. After dinner, he continued to cultivate. Ding! Host cultivated celestial Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained. 1,000 by 999 times. Ding! Host cultivated celestial Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained. 1,000 by 999 times. 3 or 4 days passed. Apart from eating and sleeping, Ji had been cultivating celestial qi. However, after cultivating for so long, he didn't feel the slightest sign of breaking through to the spirit profound realm. It seemed that cultivating celestial qi wasn't enough to break through to the spirit profound realm. Jiyu immediately exited his cultivation state. Since he couldn't break through, he would think about it in the future. It just so happened that the spirit ship was about to arrive at the Kanglan Empire. At this time, he could faintly feel that the spirit ship was slowly slowing down. Jiyu looked out of the window and saw that the surroundings were desolate and bleak. The width of the river had also shrunk a lot. This should be outside the borders of the Kanglan Empire. Not far ahead, there was a ferry. The spirit ship slowly came to a stop beside the ferry. Many passengers on the spirit ship prepared to disembark one after another. Jiyu and the others were no exception. As soon as they got off the spirit ship, they saw a large group of carriages blocking the way. Clearly, these carriages were here to steal customers. You casually picked a carriage that looked pleasing to the eye. Please deliver it to the Wanshan Empire. All right. The coachman nodded and set off immediately. Along the way, Ji didn't cultivate her celestial qi. Instead, she cultivated her amethyst pupil. Right now, he was not in a hurry to break through that distant and hopeless spirit profound realm. It wasn't a bad idea to cultivate the violet glazed eyes bloodline to the third level, see through reality. Ding! Host has read the Amethyst Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Amethyst Pupil Experience gained. 1*999x. Ding! Host has read the Amethyst Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Amethyst Pupil Experience gained. 1*999x. Ding! Congratulations, host. Your bloodline, Amethyst Pupil has successfully broken through to the see-through reality realm. After an unknown amount of time, Jiyu's Amethyst Pupil finally broke through to the third level, see-through reality. However, he didn't feel any big changes in his eyes. It was as if his eyesight had become better and his field of vision had become wider. Other than that, he didn't feel anything else. Jiyu, what are you doing? At this moment, Xiao Gu, who was sitting at the side, spoke up. What's wrong? Jiyu looked at Xiao Gu and asked. At this moment, he suddenly realized that he could actually see Xiao Gu's demonic power. Although he could only see that Xiao Gu was a 5th-grade demonic beast, he couldn't see its exact strength. However, it was much better than before. Previously, Jiyu couldn't see through Xiao Gu at all. See through reality. See through reality. Perhaps this was the effect of the third level of the Amethyst Pupil. Moreover, see through reality was the same as see through reality. It also had 3 stages. Right now, Jiyu is only at the first stage. If he cultivated to the second or even the third stage later on, then he would probably be able to see through Xiao Gu's demonic power. On the other hand, if he could see through Xiao Gu's demonic power, who else could hide their cultivation level in front of him? This ability didn't seem very useful, but it was actually very useful. As the saying goes, only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win 100 battles. Candy, it's been so long, and you still haven't given me any candy. Xiao Gu reached out and asked for it as usual. Only then did Jiyu realize that he had been cultivating the Amethyst Pupil for a day or two. Then, he should be reaching the Wanshan Empire soon. Chapter 4:15. Jiyu gave Xiao Gu some candy and waited for the carriage to arrive at the Wanshan Empire. The Wanshan Empire was different from the Kanglan Empire. One could enter and exit the empire by land. In the Kanglan Empire, one had to take a spirit ship to enter and exit the empire. After all, there were many rivers in the Kanglan Empire. Those rivers occupied at least a quarter of the Kanglan Empire's territory. Before they arrived at the Wanshan Empire, you could see the huge city wall in front of them. The Wanshan Empire's territory must be behind the huge city wall. We're almost at the Wanshan Empire. At this time, Jiyu asked do you remember where the Wanshan Empire's King City is? It'll be better if you remember the exact location of the Qi family's mansion. I don't remember. Qi Ling shook her head. She had been living a miserable life in the Qi family since she was born. Even her freedom was restricted. She only had a few chances to leave the house. Therefore, she didn't know where the Qi family's mansion was. She only knew that it was in King City. She didn't even know where King City was. Okay, I'll buy a map when we get there, Ji said. About half an hour later, the carriage finally entered the Wanshan Empire's city wall. After getting off the carriage, Ji looked around. She found that this was a military base. It was the base of the Wanshan Empire's army. After all, this was the border city wall. The security must be very tight. There were almost no ordinary residents around. There were only a few ordinary houses. However, there were many merchants and carriages coming and going. Coincidentally, Ji bought a map of the Wanshan Empire from one of the merchants. From the map, the Wanshan Empire was mostly land. There were not many rivers. In other words, it was a suitable place for demonic beasts to live. It was no wonder that the most popular occupation in the Wanshan Empire was beast tamer. King City was located in the southeast of the Wanshan Empire. From where Ji and the others were at, they could reach the Wanshan Empire's King City as long as they kept going forward. In order to resolve this matter as quickly as possible, Ji immediately used her movement technique to bring Qi Ling, and Xiao Gu to the royal city. Before those merchants could react, Ji and the others had already disappeared without a trace. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Congratulations, Host. The superior Earth rank Shadowless Lightning Flash has successfully broken through to the initial success stage. In just a few minutes, Ji arrived at the royal city with Qi Ling, and Xiao Gu. Due to the high-grade Earth rank movement technique's consumption of profound Qi was too great. Halfway through, Ji even took 2 pills to recover her profound Qi, which was why she was barely able to hold on until now. Now that they were in the royal city, the general map from before was no longer useful. Ji went to buy a map of King City. Only then could they find the location of the Qi residence and know where to go. They followed the route on the map. Ji once again used her movement technique to bring Qi Ling, and Xiao Gu to the Qi residence. Due to their extremely fast speed, no one could see them on the road. Soon, the entrance of the Qi residence appeared in front of the 3 of them. Looking at the familiar yet strange mansion before her, Qi Ling's expression turned complicated. "Who are you people?" After a few seconds, the guards at the entrance of the Qi residence finally noticed that 3 unfamiliar people had appeared at the entrance. "She's the second miss of the Qi family. Don't you recognize her?" Ji was the first to speak. "Second miss? What's second miss? Since when did the Qi family have a second miss? Isn't there only the first young Master Qi? I don't know. I've been a guard at the Qi residence for 3 years, and I've never heard of the second Mississippi. I've only been here for a year, and I've never heard of the second Mississippi." After the guards heard this, they all looked at each other in dismay. Ji was surprised to hear that none of them recognized Qi Ling. He subconsciously glanced at Qi Ling. He saw that Qi Ling had lowered her head slightly, and she looked a little gloomy. Chapter 416. At this moment, a middle-aged man walked out of the Qi mansion. We saw that the guard were not standing properly. He asked, "What's going on?" "Elder Qi Yang." "Elder, there's a woman here who claims to be the second miss of the Qi clan." The guards turned around and reported respectfully. "The second miss of the Qi clan?" Qi Yang's expression changed. He pushed the guards in front of him aside. He was stunned when he saw the young lady in front of him. "Ling, it's really you," Qi Yang exclaimed in shock. Even though he had not seen her for 5 years, he could not be mistaken. The young lady was none other than the second miss of the Qi clan, Qi Ling. Qi Ling was slightly taken aback as well. "Uncle Yang?" Ji noticed that Qi Ling and the middle-aged man seemed to know each other, so she did not say anything. Instead, she stood by the side and watched quietly. As for Xiao Gu, it was even more impossible for her to say anything. She would not pay attention to things that had nothing to do with her. Moreover, she was eating candy right now. She did not have the time to care about anything else. As for the guards, they were all bewildered. They did not know that there was a second miss of the Qi clan. However, why did the elders seem to know this young lady? Linger, why are you back? Qiyang asked anxiously. Didn't you go to the Kanglan Empire with the second miss? Uncle Yang, I'm back because Qi Ling paused when she said this. I'm the one who brought her here. I have something to discuss with the master of the Qi clan. When Jiyu saw that Qi Ling was hesitant to speak, she decided to get straight to the point. The master of the Qi clan that she was talking about was none other than the clan leader of the Qi clan, Qi Ling's father. However, a scumbag like him was not qualified to be her father. Qi Yang's eyes widened slightly when he heard those words. He asked, You are? I'm Qi Ling's friend, Jiyu. Ji replied honestly without any hesitation. Who's this? Qiang looked at the young lady standing behind Jiyu. It was only then that he noticed that the young lady's appearance was a little peculiar. Be it her seductive beauty, the horns on her head, or the tail behind her back, she did not look like a normal person. Only his cultivation seemed to be very ordinary. Actually, it was because Qi Yang was only at the Tongxian realm, so he couldn't see through Xiao Gu's strength. However, he mistakenly thought that Xiao Gu's strength was very ordinary. Don't mind me. Right at this moment, Xiao Gu spoke abruptly. Qi Yang couldn't help but be a little surprised. This girl's way of speaking was really strange. She's my little sister. I brought her along this time. Ji said perfunctorily. I see. Qi Yang nodded. Then follow me into the residence first. Ji Yu and the other two did not say anything as they followed Qi Yang into the Qi family mansion. As for the guards, other than feeling very surprised, they did not have any other thoughts. After all, they were not qualified to interfere in such matters. After entering the Qi family estate, Qiang walked for an unknown period of time before gradually coming to a stop. Ji looked around and realized that there was no one around. At this moment, Qiang turned around. Young master, no matter why you and Ling came back, I hope that you can leave Royal City as soon as possible. It's best if you never come back, Qiang said in a deep voice. Why do you say that? Jiyu asked with a slight frown on her face. Qiang hesitated for a moment before he said, Young master, you might not know this, but after that young lady left with Ling 5 years ago, the clan leader decided to keep everything about Ling a secret. Now, apart from the older generation, no one in the Qi family remembers Ling. In fact, they don't even know that Ling existed. If the clan leader finds out that Ling is back, he might put righteousness before righteousness. After hearing Qi Yang's words, Ji finally understood what was going on. In her opinion, the clan leader of the Qi family deliberately removed Qi Ling's name from the clan leader's list in order to cover up what happened in the past. This way, no one would know what he had done in the past. It was indeed as Qi Yang had said. If the clan leader found out that Qi Ling was back, he would definitely make a move on Qi Ling in order to cover up what happened in the past. Jiyu. At this moment, Qi Ling tugged on Jiyu's sleeve and said, Why don't we go back? After all, no one knows about me anymore. Father has also removed my name from the clan leader's list. You still call that person your father? Jiyu asked in confusion. Chapter 417. However, Ji did not think that Qi Ling was weak. Instead, she found her pitiful. After all, Qi Ling's current plight was all because of those two scumbags. They were the clan head and first young master of the Qi clan. Qi Ling, was about to say something when Jiyu interrupted her. You don't have to say anything. Jiyu said, Leave it to me. Qi Ling was stunned. She looked at Jiyu. The calm expression on Jiyu's face gave her a huge sense of security. She nodded obediently and didn't say anything else. Now that you know what's going on, It's better for you to leave before the clan head finds out. Qi tried to persuade Qi Ling. He knew that the clan head was currently dealing with other matters, so he would not know that Qi Ling was back. However, he saw Qi Ling shaking her head. No, Ji said. Why should we leave? I brought Qi Ling here to talk to the clan head about something. What? You're going to look for the clan head? Qi exclaimed in shock. He did not expect that Qi Ling would come back with such a motive. He thought that Qi Ling was only here to take a look at the Qi clan. This was also one of the reasons why he had asked Qi Ling to follow him into the Qi clan. Otherwise, he would have been able to persuade Qi Ling to leave the Qi clan after sending the guards away. However, Qi found it hard to believe. He had already said so much, but not only did Qi Ling refuse to leave, she even wanted to look for the clan head. In an instant, Qi Yang's impression of the young man before him worsened significantly. Qi Ling had already wanted to leave earlier, but the young man insisted on staying. Even so, Qi could only bear with it. Young master, please don't be so stubborn. I really can't meet the clan head anymore. Qi Ling pleaded with Qi Ling. However, Ji ignored Qi and turned to Qi Ling instead. You seem to be on good terms with this young man, right? That's right. He's my uncle, and he's one of the few people who has treated me well in the past. Qi Ling did not know why Ji suddenly asked this question, but she still nodded and replied. Okay, I got it. Ji nodded and said to Qi, since I dare to let Qi Ling meet with Patriarch Qi, I naturally have full confidence. So, you can rest assured. If Qi Ling had shaken her head instead of nodding, he wouldn't have been so polite to Qi. Confident, Qi looked at Ji strangely. Obviously, he did not believe Ji at all. How confident could this young man, who is only at the 9th level of the defensive profound realm, be? As for the little girl behind him, her strength was so ordinary that he directly ignored her. Actually, it wasn't just Xiao Gu. Qi couldn't see through Ji either. Moreover, Ji always used the Qi concealment technique to hide her cultivation. In Qi Yang's eyes, Ji was only at the peak of 9th level of the defensive profound realm. Although this level of cultivation could be considered a rare martial arts genius at this young man's age. However, he knew the Patriarch very well. The Patriarch was known for being ruthless and merciless. If the Patriarch insisted on making a move on Qi Ling, even if this young man was a member of the royal family of the Wanshan Empire, he would not change his mind. Moreover, this young man was not a member of the royal family. In the vast Wanshan Empire, there wasn't a single Ji clan. In Qi Yang's opinion, this young man must be from the Kanglan Empire and must have a powerful force behind him. However, that was the Kanglan Empire, not the Wanshan Empire. No matter how powerful the force behind him was, it wouldn't make much difference. However, Qi suddenly noticed that this young man's dressing was a little similar to the people from the Evolving Temple. But he quickly dismissed this thought. Lingo was so kind. How could she mix with the people from the Evolving Temple? Moreover, the little girl who took her away 5 years ago would definitely not let her interact with the people from the Evolving Temple. You don't believe me? At this moment, Ji was a little helpless. It seems that I have to show you a little. As soon as he finished speaking, Ji aura fluctuated slightly. He only showed a little, but it was enough to shock Qi Yang sensed from Ji's aura that was far stronger than his own. Qi Yang's face was full of shock, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. At this moment, he finally understood. In fact, he was too weak, which was why he couldn't see through this young man's true cultivation. The most terrifying thing was that he was at least at the 6th level of the Tongshin realm. However, he sensed from this young man an aura that was far stronger than his own. Not only that, but this young man only showed a little. Then this young man's true cultivation, what kind of terrifying level had he reached? Chapter 4:18. Now, do you believe me? The corners of Ji-Yu's mouth curled up. Qi only regained his senses when he heard Ji-Yu's voice. Yes, I believe you. Qi nodded immediately. Facing such a terrifying existence, how could he dare to have the slightest doubt? He didn't know how to describe this young man in words. He looked to be about the same age as Ling Er, but his martial arts cultivation had already surpassed Qiyang, who was at LV6 Tongxian realm. Genius? Monster? It was an insult to this young man. Even the word prodigy was not enough to describe this young man. The current #1 prodigy of Wanshan Empire had just broken through to Tongxian realm. Qiyang could not believe that the Kanglan Empire could produce such a peerless prodigy. Moreover, he had become Ling Er's friend. Qiyang was relieved. It seemed that Ling Er was doing well, and he did not need to worry about her. At the same time, he suddenly remembered the lady who took Ling away 5 years ago. Qiyang had not seen her with his own eyes, and the patriarch had deliberately kept his secret. However, as an elder, he knew a little about it. It was said that the lady was as powerful as the patriarch. More importantly, she was about the same age as this young man. Qiyang could not help but think. He decided that if he had the chance, he would definitely visit the Kanglan Empire. What kind of place could produce 2 peerless prodigies in the same era? Can you bring us to the patriarch of the Qi family now? Ji reminded him. Of course. Qiyang did not dare to delay and immediately replied. Then, he led Ji Yu and the others to the patriarch of the Qi family. Soon, Ji Yu and the others followed Qiyang to a luxurious building. This is the Qi family's meeting hall, Qiyang said. Qiyang said, but the patriarch seems to be discussing something with someone. Let's go in. Ji Yu did not care what the patriarch of the Qi family was doing. She pushed open the door to the meeting hall. Qiyang opened his mouth to say something. However, when he thought of the cultivation that the other party had just displayed, he immediately shut his mouth. He just stood outside and observed the situation. He didn't dare to rush in with them. Inside the conference hall, there was a middle-aged man with a face full of wrinkles and a slightly older complexion. Opposite the middle-aged man sat 3 black-clothed men. They seemed to be discussing something. However, at this moment, the sound of the door being pushed open suddenly came. Who? The middle-aged man didn't look over, but his expression darkened. Didn't I say that no one is allowed to enter? Are you the patriarch of the Qi family? Then, a voice came from the door. Judging from his voice, he didn't sound old. Moreover, this voice sounded very unfamiliar to the middle-aged man. Only then did he turn his head to look. A man and 2 women walked in, and they were all quite young. Especially when he saw a young lady with black hair, the middle-aged man's pupils suddenly constricted. Ling Er, why are you here? The middle-aged man couldn't help but exclaim. Clearly, this middle-aged man was the head of the Qi clan, as well as Ling Er's scumbag father, Qi Xiang. However, Ling didn't even dare to look at Qi Xiang. Gradually, she hid behind Ji Yu. Due to the trauma in her heart, she couldn't look this person in the eye. If not for Ji Yu, she wouldn't even want to appear in front of this person. However, it wasn't just Qi Xiang who was shocked. Even the 3 black-clothed men sitting across from Qi Xiang had looks of shock on their faces. Who are you? Why do you have the power of inheritance? They stood up excitedly and pointed at Ji Yu. Initially, Ji Yu's attention was only on Qi Xiang. He could tell at a glance that this person was at LV9 Tongxian realm, so he guessed that this person was the patriarch of the Qi clan, Qi Xiang. At this moment, he heard a few excited voices, so he turned his attention to them. There were 3 black-clothed men. One of them was at LV9 Tongxian realm, while the other 2 were at LV8 Tongxian realm. Moreover, the clothes of these 3 men were very similar to Ji Yu's. The only difference was the pattern on their chests. This was especially so for the black-clothed man who was at LV9 Tongxian realm. Ji Yu sensed a power that was identical to her own from this person. Chapter 419. It was not difficult for Ji Yu to guess that the 3 men in black were from the evolutionary temple like her. However, they were definitely not from the Kanglan branch. In the Wanshan Empire, they should be from the Wanshan branch. Especially the man in black who was at LV9 Tongxian. He should be one of the vice leaders of the Wanshan branch. Of course, it was also possible that he was a leader, but it was unlikely. If he could really become a palace master with this kind of strength, then this Myriad Mountain Branch Palace would be too weak. Can't you tell from my clothes? At this moment, Ji said calmly. As soon as she said that, the three men in black fell silent and their expressions became serious. In fact, they had guessed that this young man was from the Evolutionary Temple, but they were not sure. Now, they were sure. Qi Xiang's expression changed slightly when he saw this. He felt that something was wrong. You're not for the Wanshan branch, are you? At this moment, the man in black who was at LV9 Tongxian asked in a deep voice. He could feel the power in this young man. It was definitely the power of inheritance. Without a doubt, this young man was either a vice leader or a leader. However, there was no such person in the Wanshan branch. No, Ji Yu said. I came from the Kanglan Empire to deal with some matters. I see. The man in black immediately understood. This young man was from the Kanglan branch. He suddenly remembered that not long ago, he heard that the Kanglan Empire branch had a new leader. He seemed to be called Ji Yu, and he was a young man. Thinking of this, the man in black was shocked. Are you Ji Yu? He asked excitedly. Oh, you recognize me? Ji Yu was surprised. She did not expect that someone in the distant Wanshan Empire would recognize her. How would I dare not know Hall Leader Ji's name? The man in black said respectfully. The young man in front of her was indeed the Kanglan branch's leader. At that time, there was news that a young man from the Azure Water Branch Hall had become the new Hall Master. Everyone in the Myriad Mountain Branch Hall was shocked. Although the Azure Water Branch Hall's strength and foundation weren't considered famous in the entire southern region, the Azure Water Branch Hall's strength and foundation wasn't much. However, it was still slightly better than the Myriad Mountains Branch Palace. To be able to become the new Azure Water Branch Hall Master, one would have to be at least at peak level 9 Tongxian realm. Despite being less than 18 years old, he was already at Tongxian realm perfection. It was completely unbelievable that these two conditions were placed on the same person. Just yesterday, their Lord Hall Master had warned them. In the future, if he were to meet the new Azure Water Branch Hall Master, Ji Yu, even if he was not willing to curry favor with her, he must not offend her. Hall Master Ji. Hall Master Ji. When the other two black-clothed men heard those words, their reactions were extremely quick. They immediately said respectfully. Qi Xiang was frightened by this scene. Who was that young man? Why did they revere that young man so much? And what was going on with the palace master? Qi Xiang's mind raced. He soon realized that the young man had just said that he was from the Kanglan Empire, and the three of them respectfully addressed the young man as Hall Master. Could it be that the young man was the Hall Master of the Kanglan Empire Branch Hall? That was not right. How could such a young man become the Hall Master of a branch hall? Qi Xiang's expression kept changing. He immediately tried to check Ji Yu's cultivation. However, he found that he could not see through anything. He could see through such a small trick as the Qi concealment skill. So he knew that peak level 9 defensive profound realm was definitely not the young man's true cultivation. This meant that the young man was really at the Tongxian realm. Moreover, he was not an ordinary Tongxian realm expert. He was very likely to be stronger than him. The situation was getting more and more complicated. Qi Xiang's expression became a little ugly. The point was that the young man had brought Qi Linger here. It was not necessarily a bad thing, but it was definitely not a good thing. This reminded Qi Xiang of the purple-haired girl from 5 years ago. The scene from 5 years ago seemed to be just yesterday. That girl was very similar to this young man. They were almost the same age. They had almost the same terrifying talent and strength. Chapter 420. Not only Qi Xiang, but even Qi Linger was shocked. Temple Master? What's that? Since when did Ji Yu become a Temple Master? Did I disturb you earlier? Ji Yu intended to ask them about their stand first. If they were on Qi Xiang's side, he would not mind using force to solve the problem. No, it's just a small matter. The black-clad man said calmly. Do as you wish, Temple Master Ji. With that, he drew a clear line between him and Qi Xiang. However, he did not intend to stand on Ji Yu's side. Instead, he chose to remain neutral. Qi Xiang's expression darkened immediately. What he had just discussed with the three of them was a very important matter. Otherwise, he would not have asked a Vice Temple Master and 2 elders of the Myriad Mountain Subpalace to come forward. However, the 3 of them made it sound like a small matter. It seemed that no matter what happened next, he would not be able to ask for help from the 3 of them. The Qi clan could only bear the consequences themselves. "Sir, why did you bring my daughter back?" Qi Xiang could not help but ask directly. "Oh, you still know that she's your daughter?" Ji Yu was surprised. Qi Xiang fell silent when he heard Ji Yu's tone. Seeing that Qi Xiang was speechless, Ji Yu found it very funny. "My purpose is very simple. I want Qi Ling, to leave the Qi clan." Ji Yu said directly. "Leave the Qi clan?" Qi Xiang frowned. "What?" Seeing Qi Xiang's unhappy expression, Ji Yu said, "You've already removed Qi Ling, name from the Qi clan. Why won't you allow her to leave the Qi clan?" "No." Qi Xiang fell silent for a moment before he shook his head. He could not compromise on leaving the Qi clan. "Is that so?" Ji Yu's eyes suddenly flashed coldly. "In that case, I won't waste my time talking to a scumbag like you." Before he could finish speaking, Ji Yu's figure vanished from where he stood. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times proficiency experience points. Ding! Host has performed Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the Mastery stage of the Mystic Level Superior Fist. Before Qi Xiang realized that Ji Yu had disappeared, Ji Yu had already appeared in front of him. He punched Qi Xiang in the face and knocked him to the ground, breaking several of his teeth. If not for the profound Qi protecting his body, Qi Xiang might have already died. Qi Xiang covered his face in pain and looked at Ji Yu in shock. He even forgot to get up from the ground. Initially, he thought that he was at least at Tongxian Realm Intermediate stage. If the other party really wanted to make a move, even if he couldn't win, he could still hold on for a while. By the time the other elders arrived, they would be evenly matched. It was for this reason that Qi Xiang dared to reject the other party's request for Qi Ling, to leave the clan. But he never thought that this young man's strength would be so tyrannical. He didn't even have time to react before he received a heavy blow. "Do you want to continue?" At this time, Ji said coldly. As he spoke, he raised his fist again. Since the other party didn't agree, he would beat him until he did. Seeing this, Qi Xiang didn't even have time to stand up. He quickly performed his most powerful defensive profound skill. Ding! Host has performed Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ji Yu punched Qi Xiang again. This time, Qi Xiang blocked his face with his arms. At the same time, he also had a defensive profound skill and profound Qi to protect himself. Therefore, he didn't suffer much damage. However, before Qi Xiang could catch his breath, Ji Yu's fist followed. Ding! Host has performed Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Host has performed Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Congratulations, host. Profound Rank Superior Fist Technique, Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist, has successfully broken through to the Perfection Realm. As Ji Yu's speed was too extreme, Qi Xiang couldn't guard against it. Just as he was about to stand up, he was beaten to the ground again. He could barely resist for the first 3 seconds, but after that, he was beaten the whole time. In the end, Qi Xiang's arms swelled painfully as he fell to the ground. His face was bruised and swollen like a pig's head. He seemed to be swallowing his last few breaths. Enduring the intense pain, he begged for mercy with great difficulty. Don't hit me. I promise you, why bother?" Ji Yu cracked his knuckles and slowly shook his head. "If you had agreed from the start, would this have happened?" These words were spoken as if he was innocent. Qi Xiang almost spat out a mouthful of blood when he heard this, but he endured it with great difficulty. The 3 men in black who had witnessed everything that had just happened couldn't help but fiercely suck in a breath of cold air. This hall Master Ji didn't use any weapons. He was purely barehanded, and every punch hit the flesh. It was really simple and crude to the extreme. Chapter 421. As for Qi Ling, she stood beside Xiao Gu without saying a word. At this moment, Qi Xiang still refused to change his mind. He used his mind to communicate with Qi Ling. Ling, can you please help me? There was a pleading tone in his voice. However, Qi Ling remained expressionless. She was not moved at all. She did not want to speak at all. She did not want to hear Qi Xiang's voice at all. This time, Qi Xiang was completely helpless. He could only get up from the ground with difficulty and slowly walk out of the hall. By the way, I advise you not to play those meaningless tricks. At this moment, Ji Yu spoke up. It's easy for me to kill you. I was just playing with you earlier. Indeed, he was only helping Qi Ling vent her anger earlier. If he really wanted to kill this scum, he could have done it with a swing of his sword. No matter what, this scum was still Qi Ling, Er's biological father. Before Qi Ling made up her mind, he wouldn't go so far as to kill her. Qi Xiang's body trembled when he heard Ji Yu's words. A few minutes later, in the ancestral hall of the Qi clan, Ji Yu, Xiao Gu, Qi Ling, and Qi Xiang were all here. There were many elders and disciples of the Qi clan gathered around. Most of them were attracted by the bruised and swollen face of the clan leader. No one knew what had happened. However, judging from the clan leader's appearance and the fact that he had specially come to the ancestral hall, it must be something big. As for the 3 black-robed men, they had left. After all, this matter had nothing to do with the Myriad Mountains branch hall. Hurry up. Stop wasting time. Right at this moment, Ji Yu was slightly impatient, and she urged, how dare that man be so disrespectful to the clan leader of the Qi clan? The surrounding disciples were agitated. However, just as they were about to reprimand him, they heard the roar of the clan leader. All of you shut up. Qi Xiang's face darkened. Are these brainless people trying to get me killed? Everyone was frightened and immediately shut their mouths. Then, Qi Xiang struggled to open his mouth. Today, our Qi clan, Qi Ling, Qi Xiang had explained the cause and effect of the incident. Although it was very brief, the most basic cause and effect was clear. This was also the reason why Qi Xiang was unwilling to allow Qi Ling, to leave the clan. According to the Qi family's rules, whenever a clansman wanted to leave the clan leader had to announce the cause and effect. Once it was announced, it would mean that what he had done would be exposed. At this moment, everyone in the surroundings had heard those words. All of them were stunned. Qi Ling, second miss? Our Qi family actually had such a person? I vaguely remembered that Patriarch Qi had a second daughter, but she seemed to have disappeared a long time ago. I didn't expect that she would appear again today. That's not the key point. What the family head and the eldest young master did to Qi Ling is too much. I really didn't expect the patriarch and the eldest young master to be such people. Sigh, lower your voice. If the patriarch hears you, you'll be in deep trouble. Those who reacted were all enraged. The patriarch and young master that they had always respected were actually scum with a twisted mind. If it weren't for the fact that they didn't have the guts, they would have cursed out loud. Qi Xiang had long known that such a situation would happen, so he was mentally prepared. When it came to the final procedure, he gritted his teeth and insisted on finishing it. From today onward, Qi Ling, is no longer a member of the Qi family. After saying those words, Qi Xiang felt relieved. He didn't know what Qi Xiang was thinking. After hearing those words, a smile finally appeared on Qi Ling's face. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she couldn't help but hug Ji Yu tightly. If not for Ji Yu, she didn't know how long it would take for her to completely sever her ties with the Qi family. Feeling Qi Ling, hugging her from behind, Ji Yu smiled in relief. This fellow should have finally gotten rid of his inner demons, right? But soon, the smile on Ji Yu's face disappeared. Are you sure you don't need to kill him? He asked Qi Ling calmly. As soon as those words came out, everyone fell silent. It was so quiet that it was frightening. Almost everyone was looking at Ji Yu. Shock, horror, and panic filled their eyes. Chapter 422. You have no morals. Qi Xiang pointed at Ji Yu in horror. He was so scared that he stuttered. I never said that I would let you go. Ji Yu said coldly. At this moment, Qi Linger said, I don't want to kill him. No matter what that scumbag had done, he was still her father. She couldn't do something like killing her own father, whether directly or indirectly. That was what Qi Linger thought. As soon as Qi Linger said that, Qi Xiang was overjoyed. However, in the next moment, he could not feel happy anymore. If you don't want to kill him, you can at least cripple his cultivation, right? Ji said. The smile on Qi Xiang's face froze. He slowly turned his head to look at Qi Ling. However, Qi Ling did not say a word or move at all. It was as if she was silently agreeing to it. Save me. At this moment, Qi Xiang could not care about anything else. He shouted at the top of his lungs. The elders were the first to react. They all used their movement techniques and rushed over. In the blink of an eye, Ji Yu and the other two were surrounded. As for the group of Qi family disciples, although they didn't know what was going on, they also went up to surround him. You don't really think that you can stop me like this, do you? Ji Yu still had a calm expression on his face. There was even a hint of a playful smile on his face. He never liked to kill innocent people. However, these people insisted on courting death. There was nothing he could do about it. Shut up, you little thief. How dare you speak rudely to the patriarch? I'll teach you a lesson. However, those elders did not realize the seriousness of the matter and were still clamoring. Qi Xiang took advantage of this opportunity to run away. He was the only one who knew how terrifying Ji Yu was. He could not stay here for a moment longer. He did not have time to warn those elders. Moreover, to Qi Xiang, his own life was the most important thing. The life and death of these people did not matter to him. Ji Yu stretched his body a little. Xiao Gu, help me protect Qi Linger. As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Yu disappeared. Ding. Host has performed Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Meanwhile, Qi Xiang was about to escape from the Qi residence by using his movement technique. He could almost see hope. Suddenly, a voice that sounded like the whisper of a devil dashed his hopes. Why are you running? Qi Xiang turned around abruptly and found that Ji Yu had already appeared behind him. He completely did not dare to believe that Ji Yu's speed was actually swift to this extent. He had already fled so far, but he was still caught up. I don't want your life. Why are you running? Ji Yu added. Let me go. Qi Xiang didn't listen at all. He ran for his life. In this world where the strong preyed on the weak, what was the difference between crippling his cultivation and killing him? Forget it. I won't play with you anymore. Ji Yu shook her head slightly. In a flash, he caught up with Qi Xiang again. Ding. Host has performed Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ding. Host has performed Shattering the Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering the Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ding. Congratulations, Host, Superior Mystic Grade Fist Technique. Shattering the Mountains and Rivers Fist has reached the peak of perfection state. Ding. Shattering the Mountains and Rivers Fist has reached the perfection state, automatically upgraded to Inferior Earth Grade Fist Technique. Solitary Killing Fist Technique. The punch landed on Qi Xiang. Qi Xiang, who was caught off guard, had his dantian shattered. In an instant, his cultivation was completely crippled. Qi Xiang fell to the ground and gradually lost consciousness. You're on your own from now on. Ji Yu glanced coldly at Qi Xiang before disappearing again after leaving behind a few words. Ding. Host has performed Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. In the next moment, he returned to Qi Ling, and Xiao Gu's side. He found that several mystic Enlightening Realm elders were already screaming in pain on the ground. Clearly, these people who overestimated themselves had just been beaten up by Xiao Gu. Ji Yu felt a little helpless. It could only be said that they had dug their own graves. I'll give you one more chance. At this moment, Ji said, "Get lost or die. Make your choice." Chapter 4:23. Just a moment ago, the few Tongxian realm elders were trampled on like toys in the hands of the little girl. Such a terrifying sight. The other elders were scared out of their wits. As soon as they heard Ji's words, they ran away faster than anyone else. They did not even care about their companions who were screaming on the ground. As for the disciples of the Qi family, they had yet to recover from their shock. It was not until 2 seconds later that they ran away in fear. "All right, let's go." At this time, Ji said to Xiao Gu and Qi Ling Er. "Okay," Qi Ling Er nodded. Then, the three of them left the Qi mansion. Along the way, Qi Ling Er did not show the worried look on her face. This was because she had completely cut off all feelings for the Qi family. Oh, right. At this moment, Ji suddenly remembered something. He had almost forgotten about it. He had dealt with Qi Xiang, but there was still the young master of the Qi family. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times of proficiency. He used his movement skill and grabbed a disciple of the Qi family who was hiding not far away. Don't kill me." The disciple of the Qi family begged for mercy. He was so scared that he almost wet himself. "Where's the young master of the Qi family?" Ji said, "Tell me the truth, and I won't kill you." The young master is now cultivating in the Royal Academy of the Wanshan Empire. The disciple of the Qi family answered in a panic. His forehead was covered in sweat. The Royal Academy of the Wanshan Empire? Ji let go of the disciple of the Qi family. After that, he asked a few more disciples of the Qi family, and they all gave the same answer. This confirmed that the young master of the Qi family was indeed in the Royal Academy of the Wanshan Empire. Ji told Qi Ling Er about this. Then he asked, "Do you still want to look for him?" "No." Qi Ling Er shook her head. "Now that I'm no longer a member of the Qi family, he has nothing to do with me." Okay. Ji did not say anything. In the future, if he were to encounter the young master of the Qi family, he would take care of him. Speaking of which, since you're no longer part of the Qi family, what should I call you in the future? At this moment, Ji asked, "Just call you Ling Er?" Ling Er blushed. "I'm glad you like it. Then I'll just call you Ling Er from now on." Ji's expression was very calm. She didn't feel that anything was wrong. "Yes." Ling Er smiled cheerfully. "Also, do you think it's better for me to have the same surname as my master?" Ling Er asked shyly. She actually wanted to say, "It's better to have the same surname as you." But she couldn't say it out loud. If she has the same surname as Manorhead Morone, then Morone Ling. Ji thought for a moment and said, "Not bad." Then, "Don't you have any other ideas?" Ling Er hurriedly asked. She realized that Ji did not understand what she meant at all, so she was a little anxious. "What ideas?" Ji pondered for a moment and seemed to have guessed something. Then, she asked doubtfully, "Could it be you want to have the same surname as me? You're the one who thought about it, not me." Ling deliberately explained. In fact, she was very happy that Ji finally reacted. Ji thought for a moment and said, "Why do I feel that this name doesn't sound as good as Murong Ling Er's?" "No," Ling Er hurriedly refuted. "Ji Ling Er sounds much better than Murong Ling Er's." "All right, as long as you like it." Ji didn't really care about Ling Er's reaction. "Then I'll be called this name in the future. Don't call me by the wrong name." Ji Ling Er smiled cheerfully. "How could I call you by the wrong name? You're thinking too much," Ji said casually. At this moment, they were about to walk out of the Qi manor when they ran into Qi Xiang. Qi Xiang was still lying there, and the entire Qi manor was in a state of panic. No one even came to care about the manor head. "I only destroyed his cultivation and spared his life for the time being," Ji said. Ji Ling silently looked at Qi Xiang, who was lying on the ground. There was no pity in her eyes. Out of personal principle, she didn't want to kill this scum. But this was only her bottom line. Apart from killing this scum, no matter how Ji treated this scum, she wouldn't mind. Chapter 424. Jiyu and the other two returned the way they came. Many days passed. Now, they had arrived at the Kanglan Empire. In the past few days, Jiyu had been cultivating the amethyst pupil on the spirit ship. Ding! Host has read the amethyst pupil cultivation manual for 1 minute. Amethyst pupil has gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Host has read the amethyst pupil cultivation manual for 1 minute. Amethyst pupil has gained experience. 1 by 999 times. In the end, Jiyu's amethyst pupil had broken through 2 stages in a row and was now at the 2nd stage. Once they got off the spirit ship, Jiyu used her movement technique and brought Jiling, and Xiaogu to the Qianyuan martial house. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained experience. 999 times proficiency. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained experience. 999 times proficiency. Ding! Congratulations, Host. The superior Earth rank movement technique, Shadowless Lightning Flash, has successfully broken through to the mastery level. Inside the Violet Gold Hall. At this moment, Jiyu, Xiaogu, Jiling, and Murong Zili were in the hall. Xiaogu was playing with Jiling, and Jiyu and Murong Zili, on the surface, were drinking tea, but in fact they were talking. Has the matter been completed? Murong Zili asked Jiyu through spiritual communication, and it was quite smooth. Jiyu replied, "Is Ling all right?" Murong Zili asked with concern. "She's fine. She has already left the Qi family and is no longer surnamed Qi." Jiyu said, "Then what's her surname?" Murong Zili asked. "Her surname is Ji." Jiyu replied without the slightest hesitation. "Oh." Murong Zili's tone slightly fluctuated, as if she understood something. "By the way, Martial House Master, I'm a little curious about something." At this time, Jiyu said again, "What's the matter?" Murong Zili said, "You were already at LV9 Tongxin stage 5 years ago?" Jiyu did not beat around the bush and asked directly, "Why are you suddenly asking this?" Murong Zili raised her eyebrows and asked, "I was thinking that with the master of the Qi family's character, if the Murong family's master did not have more power than him 5 years ago, he would definitely not have let Linger go so easily." Jiyu voiced her thoughts. "That's why I guessed that Manor Head Murong had already attained the 9th level of Tongxian realm 5 years ago. It was also because of my curiosity that Manor Head Murong asked me to ask you directly." Murong Zili was silent for a moment, then said, "That's right. 5 years ago, this mansion master indeed had a cultivation above the 9th level of the profound comprehension realm. To be precise, my cultivation has not changed at all in the past 5 years." After hearing Murong Zili's words, Jiyu couldn't help but be alarmed. His cultivation hadn't changed at all in the past 5 years? What was going on? Moreover, with his current amethyst pupils, he could see through Murong Zili's true cultivation. LV9, Tongxian stage perfection. This also meant that Murong Zili had already attained the 9th level of Tongxian stage perfection 5 years ago. According to what Murong Zili had mentioned before, she was not much older than Jiyu. Based on his appearance alone, he should be around 20 years old. 5 years ago, she was around 15 or 16 years old. In other words, Murong Zili had attained the 9th level of Tongxian stage perfection when she was 15 or 16 years old. This kind of talent was simply terrifying. However, what shocked Jiyu even more was that she clearly had such shocking talent. So why hadn't she made a single step in the past 5 years? There was definitely something going on in this. "Are you still curious about anything?" Murong Zili suddenly asked. "Yes." Jiyu took the opportunity to ask, "Why did Mansion Master become like this?" "There's no need for you to ask," Murong Zili said. "After all, even if you know, it's meaningless. If I don't say it, how can Mansion Master be sure that it's meaningless?" Jiyu asked back. Murong Zili silently looked at Jiyu for a while. "Perhaps I will tell you in the future, but at least now is not the time." "All right." Jiyu could only leave it at that. After that, Jiyu chatted with Murongzi Li for a while before preparing to return to the Azure Water Branch Hall with Xiaogu. At the entrance of the Qianyuan martial house, Jiyu reluctantly asked, Jiyu, can't you stay for a few more days? I've already left for so many days, I have to hurry back. Jiyu shook her head. All right. Jilinger could only agree. After watching Jiyu leave with Xiaogu, she entered the Qianyuan martial house as well. In a deserted place, Xiaogu spread its wings and flew back to the Azure Water Branch Hall with Jiyu. Chapter 425. After leaving for so many days, there were no changes to the Kanglan Branch Hall. This made Jiyu feel relieved. Previously, he was worried that those fellows would act on their own accord while he was gone for so long. In the following days, Jiyu did the same thing day after day. Every day, he would first deal with his affairs and then cultivate. However, after cultivating for so long, he was still very close to the spirit profound realm and could not break through. He did not know if it was because he lacked an opportunity or some other reason. Jiyu suddenly felt worried. Would he be like Manor Head Morong, stuck at the peak of the 9th level of the Tongxian realm for 5 years without breaking through? Right at this moment, someone suddenly barged into the main hall. Jiyu used his soul power to sense and found that it was the Vice Hall Master, Wen Yinyang. Ding! Host has activated his soul power. Soul power obtained experience. Won by 999 times. Soon, Wen Yinyang appeared in front of Jiyu. Lord Hall Master, there is an important matter. What is it? The Kanglan Empire's royal family is about to change the throne. The Duke of Kanglan, Zhuang Tianke, has invited Lord Hall Master over. Changing the throne? That's so fast. Jiyu could not help but feel a little surprised. He saw that the Duke of Kanglan was still in his middle age. Logically speaking, he should not have abdicated so early. Actually, Lord Hall Master does not know. When Yinyang's tone gradually became serious, every Duke of Kanglan only has 10 years of life from the moment he succeeds the throne. Zhuang Tianke has been in office for almost 10 years. In other words, in less than half a month, Zhuang Tianke will pass away. The Kanglan Empire's royal family will have to decide on the next Duke of Kanglan. After hearing Wen Yinyang's words, Jiyu could not help but be startled. He really did not expect that the Kanglan Empire's royal family would have such a secret. Why is that? Jiyu immediately asked. He definitely did not believe that there was nothing fishy about this. This has to be traced back to a few hundred years ago. At that time, there was a House of Storms king. Although he was a spirit-profound realm expert, his time was almost up. Wen Yinyang said he wanted to pursue immortality, but unexpectedly, he suffered from Qigong deviation and went astray, becoming a person of the evil path. In the end, he still died, but he managed to preserve his soul using a secret technique of the evil path. His soul has always been hidden under the royal palace, using the succession of the throne to absorb the lifespan of every succeeding king of House of Storms. In fact, there have always been a few people in the Kanglan royal family who know the truth, but they are helpless. The succession of the throne must be carried out. The tragedy of every Duke of Kanglan is unavoidable. Our branch has always been disliked in the Kanglan Empire, but the royal family has never had any conflicts with us in order to seek help from us. Hearing this, Jiyu more or less understood. So the Duke of Kanglan from a few hundred years ago wanted to use the lifespan of his descendants to revive him? Jiyu asked. That's right. Wen Yinyang nodded, and it is said that that guy has already absorbed most of it. During the succession of the throne, he will appear after absorbing the lifespan of the new Duke of Kanglan. It is very likely that he will possess the new Duke of Kanglan's body. Then, do the candidates for the throne know? Jiyu asked again. Apart from a few people in the Kanglan royal family, only the past palace masters and vice palace masters know the truth. When Yinyang replied, I see. Jiyu fell into a short period of contemplation. After a moment of contemplation, he continued. This time, the Duke of Kanglan specially invited me over. There should be other intentions, right? Yes, it is obvious that Zhuang Tianke wants our Kanglan branch to help. Wen Yunyang said. However, he still doesn't know that you have become the new palace master. This time, the other two vice palace masters, and I will go with you. I have already discussed this with Yin Ming and Yin Jie earlier. Our opinions are the same. That is, when the situation becomes uncontrollable, we will immediately leave the palace. Palace Master, what is your opinion? After hearing this, Jiyu thought for a moment. Then he said, I have no opinion. If we can help, then we will. If we can't, then forget it. In fact, he didn't care what the entire Kanglan royal family would become. But the only thing he was worried about was that guy, Zhuang Weiran. Chapter 426. When exactly will the succession of the throne begin? At this time, Jiyu continued to ask. 3 days later, at the palace. When Yunyang said. 3 days later, Jiyu said indifferently. At that time, with her around, everything will be easy to solve. Her? Hearing Jiyu's words, when Yunyang couldn't help but be puzzled. Only then did he realize that the little girl from the Calamity Bone Dragon was also present. That's right, Xiao Gu had been sitting on Jiyu's lap the entire time. However, because her figure was too petite, Wen Yunyang had never noticed it. Furthermore, Wen Yunyang's strength was too weak, so he couldn't sense Xiao Gu's aura at all. In addition, Xiao Gu had been quietly eating candy, as if everything had nothing to do with her. So that's how it is when Yunyang couldn't help but smile bitterly. With this person around, everything will indeed be easy to solve. This was a 5th-grade demonic beast, the Calamity Bone Dragon. Even if the Azure Water royal family's ancestor was a spirit profound realm expert, he was not worth mentioning in front of a 5th-grade demonic beast. He had almost forgotten that there was such a terrifying existence by the palace master's side. You can leave now, Ji said. Yes. After that, only Jiyu and Xiao Gu were left in the hall. If anything happens, I'll have to trouble you. At this time, Jiyu said to Xiao Gu, as long as you give this seat candy, anything can be discussed. Xiao Gu said with a serious expression. Jiyu smiled. You only know how to eat candy. Next, Jiyu planned to quickly finish the rest of the day's affairs. Ding. Host has reviewed for a minute. Silver level memory has obtained experience points. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has reviewed for a minute. Silver level memory has obtained experience points. 1 by 999 times. As there were more affairs today than usual, by the time Jiyu finished dealing with all the affairs, it was already afternoon. He did not return to his residence first. Instead, he went to Mu Sun's wooden house. Ever since he became the new palace master of the Azure Water Palace, he had never seen Mu Sun again. He wondered how Mu Sun was doing. Could it be that he had already left the Azure Water Branch Hall? Out of curiosity, he wanted to take a look. They arrived at the small house. Ji was right. There was no one inside. However, he found a piece of paper left on the table. The handwriting on the paper was a little messy, but there was a special charm to it. Ji found out that Mu Sun had indeed left the Azure Water Branch Hall a long time ago. They had even left the Kanglan Empire. Other than that, there was no other information. Jiyu's gaze fell on the last paragraph. Until we meet again. Until we meet again, Jiyu also said in her heart. If there was a chance in the future, he would also leave the Kanglan Empire and head to a wider world. Unlike the last time, he had rushed to the Wanshan Empire and rushed back. In the entire mysterious heavenly mainland, the Kanglan Empire was just a tiny corner of the entire continent. If he continued to stay in the Kanglan Empire, his martial arts would be greatly limited. Let's go. Thinking of this, Jiyu held Xiao Gu's hand and left the small house in the forest. Soon, Jiyu and Xiao Gu returned to their own room. Jiyu did not plan to cultivate mystical aura for the time being. He wanted to find Manor Head Murong tomorrow and have a good talk about cultivation. He did not want to be like Manor Head Murong and stay at the peak of the 9th tier of the Tongshin realm for 5 whole years. As for now, Jiyu was cultivating the Amethyst Pupil. Last time, his Amethyst Pupil had reached the 2nd stage of the Seeing Through Illusion realm. Currently, he could see that Xiao Gu's demonic power was at the 9th tier of the 5th grade. If he wanted more details, He could not see it. Perhaps he would only be able to see it when his amethyst pupil reached the third stage of the seeing through illusion realm. There was one more thing. You could sense that the current Xiao Gu was clearly much stronger than when they had first met. Roughly speaking, Xiao Gu had improved from the 7th tier of the 5th grade to the 9th tier of the 5th grade. One had to say that this kind of speed of improvement was truly terrifying. Furthermore, Xiao Gu did not need to do anything. She only needed to breathe to increase her demonic power. At this rate, it would not be long before Xiao Gu's demonic power broke through to the 6th tier. A 6th tier demonic beast. What kind of concept was this? Even Yu could not imagine. Chapter 427. Ding. Host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Pupil has gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Pupil has gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Yu spent an entire afternoon and night, but unfortunately, she was unable to reach the 3rd stage of see-through reality. There was still a gap. She estimated that it would take at least half a day to a day. But on the 2nd day, Yu quickly finished the day's work and went to the Qinyuan martial house to find Master Murong. She felt that she needed to ask why Master Murong had been stuck at peak 9th stage Tong Xian realm for 5 whole years. With Xiao Gu's help, she quickly arrived at the Qinyuan martial house. When she arrived at the Violet Gold Hall, only Murong Zili was there. Yu? Murong Zili was surprised that Yu would appear here. It had only been a few days, but she had returned. Martial House Master, I came to find you for something. Yu walked towards Murong Zili and said bluntly, What's the matter? Murong Zili asked. It's about the matter from last time. Why hasn't Martial House Master's cultivation changed for 5 whole years? I feel that I need to find out. Yu said with a serious face. Why did you suddenly ask this? Murong Zili felt that it was strange. Because I found that I might have encountered the same problem as Martial House Master. Yu said. Hearing this, Murong Zili's expression changed. How is that possible? Murong Zili couldn't help but lose her composure. Although it wasn't obvious, this was the first time Murong Zili had such a big emotional fluctuation. I don't know why, but I'm already very close to the spirit profound realm, but no matter how I cultivate, I can't break through. But Yu didn't notice Murong Zili's expression and kept talking. Hearing this, Murong Zili let out a sigh of relief in her heart. This Martial House Master has a question. At this time, Murong Zili spoke. Are you clear on what the true method to break through to the spirit profound realm is? Isn't it just cultivation? What else could it be? Yu said matter-of-factly. Then you're wrong. Murong Zili was a bit speechless. If you want to break through to the spirit profound realm, you need to gather your essence, energy, and spirit. The so-called essence, energy, and spirit are mental energy, profound energy, and soul energy. Only when all 3 are gathered can one break through to the spirit profound realm. Otherwise, even if you cultivate until the end of time, you will never be able to break through. Then, I have another question. Have you never read any books about this before? Although there are very few people in the Kanglan Empire who can come into contact with this, you really shouldn't have. She really did not expect that a genius like Yu would not even know the true method to break through to the spirit profound realm. She almost mistakenly thought that Yu was the same as her. I really don't have one. Yu smiled awkwardly. If he had known earlier that the method was so simple, he would not have specially come to find Murong Zili previously, due to the existence of the system. Yu felt that cultivating martial arts was especially simple. If he wanted to break through to the spirit profound realm, or even higher realms, it was at most a matter of time. Moreover, he did not like to read books, so he never paid attention to those books about martial arts. Thus, he became like this. However, this also raised another doubt in Yu's heart. Since Murong Manor Master clearly knew this method, Then why did he stagnate at the peak of the 9th level of the spirit profound realm for 5 years? You'd better study more in the future. Such a basic thing you cannot not know. Morong Zili advised. Amen, I understand. Jiyu nodded. Then, Jiyu continued, but I'm still curious. Since Manor Master knows this, why did he stagnate at the peak of the 9th level of the spirit profound realm for so many years? Morong Zili looked deeply at Jiyu. After a while, she slowly opened her mouth and said, If you really want to know, then come find me the day after tomorrow. At that time, you will understand. The day after tomorrow? Jiyu thought for a moment. Wasn't this the same day as the change of throne for the Kanglan Empire's royal family? Chapter 428. Jiyu suddenly remembered that he didn't notice it before. The day after tomorrow was a lunar eclipse, but the lunar eclipse night didn't seem to have any special meaning. Jiyu didn't bother about this anymore. He would know when the time came. After learning the method to break through to the spirit profound realm, Jiyu immediately returned to the Azure Water Hall and impatiently began to break through. Ding! Host has cultivated profound chi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience, 500 by 999 times. Ding! Host has activated spirit power. Silver level spirit power gained experience, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Host has activated spirit power. Soul strength gained experience, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, host. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the early 1st level of the spirit profound realm. According to Murong Z. Lee's method, Ji tried to activate profound chi, spirit power, and spirit power at the same time. Very quickly, his cultivation broke through. In that instant, Ji felt the convergence of essence, chi, and spirit. Under the stimulation of the spirit profound realm cultivation, his spirit power and spirit power received a huge boost. Ding! Host has successfully broken through to the spirit profound realm. Spirit power increase effect increased by 999 times. Ding! Host has successfully broken through to the spirit profound realm. Spirit power increase effect increased by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, host. Silver level spirit power has successfully broken through to the large success realm. Ding! Congratulations, host. Silver level spirit power has successfully broken through to the great perfection realm. Ding! Detected that silver level spirit power has reached the great perfection realm. Automatically upgraded to gold level spirit power. Immediately, his spirit power advanced to the gold level. In addition to feeling his spirit power greatly increase, a small golden sword appeared in front of Jiyu. This is? Jiyu looked at the small golden sword in surprise. If he didn't remember wrongly, once one's spirit power reached the gold level, it would indeed materialize. As for what kind of substance it was based on one's consciousness. In other words, Jiyu's spirit power subconsciously formed this small golden sword. Jiyu tried to reach out and touch it, but she found that she couldn't touch the golden sword at all. He was able to control the small golden sword with his mind. Under normal circumstances, this thing should be very powerful. Jiyu thought to herself. It was probably a mental attack. He couldn't be sure yet. He could only wait for an opportunity to test it on an enemy in the future. If it was really a mental attack, then it would be a great weapon. Is this a breakthrough in your cultivation? At this moment, Xiao Gu, who was sitting at the side and eating candy, casually said, Yes. Jiyu nodded. However, he suddenly realized something. He had just broken through to the spirit profound realm, and there didn't seem to be any movement. This was a little strange. If it was in the past, when a Tongxian realm cultivator had a breakthrough, if he didn't circulate the heaven splitter technique to suppress it, the aura would shake the entire Azure Water Branch Hall. In the end, this breakthrough to the spirit profound realm did not cause any commotion. Jiyu didn't know that his breakthrough had actually caused a huge commotion. He didn't feel it himself, but almost all the Tongxian realm cultivators in the Kinglan Empire felt it. At the same time, in the Azure Water Palace, Zhuang Tianke, who was resting with his eyes closed, suddenly felt his mind tremble. He suddenly opened his eyes and looked in a certain direction. This was the direction of the Azure Water Branch Hall. Could it be that the Azure Water Branch Hall Master had broken through to the Spirit Profound Realm? Zhuang Tianke was shocked. Then a trace of joy emerged in his heart. The Azure Water Branch Hall Master had just broken through to the Spirit Profound Realm at this time. Could it be that there was hope the day after tomorrow? Chapter 429. However, Zhuang Tianke did not know that the person who broke through to the Spirit Profound Realm was Ji Yu. Not only Zhuang Tianke, but all the experts in the Kinglan Empire who had reached the Tongxian realm and above felt it. Kinglan Empire Academy. At this time, Gao Huan was recuperating. Last time, when he was swept by the bone dragon's tail, many bones in his body were broken, although he had more or less recovered now. It would take a few more days for him to fully recover. In the next moment, Gao Huan suddenly turned pale with fright. He could not help but stand up and look in a certain direction with a heavy gaze. Azure Water Palace Hall. Another Spirit Profound Realm expert has appeared. Gao Huan muttered to himself as his expression gradually turned ugly. After what happened last time, it was difficult for their Kinglan Empire Academy to maintain a relationship with the Azure Water Palace Hall. Now, a Spirit Profound Realm expert appeared in the Azure Water Palace Hall. If there was no accident, it should be that Palace Master level figure. Gao Huan had not come into contact with that figure yet. This was what he was most worried about. If it was a hot-tempered Palace Master who was unhappy and came looking for trouble with the Kinglan Empire Academy, that would be terrible. Gao Huan considered for a while. For the sake of the Kinglan Empire Academy, he decided to think of ways to curry favor with the Azure Water Palace Hall. Qinyuan Martial House. Murong Zili, whose cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th level of the Tongxian realm, naturally felt it. She almost instantly understood that this was Ji Yu breaking through to the Spirit Profound Realm. Murong Zili's mouth immediately curved into a satisfied smile. She did not misjudge her. But the most shocked were the Azure Water Palace Hall's Vice Palace Masters and Elders, as well as many Tongxian Realm Guardians. Their first reaction was to immediately see who caused the commotion. After discovering that it was the Palace Master, they dispelled this thought. After all, this was the Palace Master's residence. They did not dare to barge in. In a moment, many people gathered around Ji Yu's residence. Even Wen Yinyang, Yin Ming, and Yin Jie, the 3 Vice Palace Masters, as well as all the elders, rushed over. What happened just now? My spirit and soul received a huge impact. Could it be a breakthrough in cultivation? I've never felt that way before. Could it be that the Palace Master has entered the Spirit Profound Realm? That's impossible, right? Didn't Palace Master just break through to the 9th level of the Tongxian realm not long ago? How could he enter the Spirit Profound Realm so quickly? I also feel that it's not very possible. In order to break through to the Spirit Profound Realm, one's mental energy must be at least at the silver rank. The protectors were all making guesses. However, when Yunyang's words put an end to their guesses, the Palace Master has indeed broken through to the Spirit Profound Realm. As soon as he said this, everyone was dumbfounded, especially Yin Ming and Yin Jie. They found it hard to believe that this was true. Previously, during the battle, Ji Yu was only at the early stage of Tongxian realm. There was no way they would be mistaken. How long had it been? And he had already reached the Spirit Profound Realm. This time, they were completely convinced. Now that Ji Yu had already become a Spirit Profound Realm expert, unless they didn't want to live anymore. However, at this time, Ji Yu was still playing with the small golden sword in her room. Other than her mental energy, her soul energy had also improved greatly. However, her soul energy did not have any substantial changes. It was also not divided into bronze rank, silver rank, and gold rank like her mental energy. It could only be said that she was much stronger than before. Only then did Ji realize that there seemed to be many people outside. She was a little curious and opened the door to take a look. She saw the vice palace masters, elders, and a group of protectors all gathered outside, and their expressions were very rich. Could it be that these people found out that I had a breakthrough in cultivation? Ji was puzzled. Chapter 430. A group of people stared blankly at Ji without saying a word. "What are you doing?" Ji asked. Hall Master, did you really break through to the spirit profound realm?" At this time, Wen Yunyang spoke. "It's true. Is there a problem?" Ji said. No, Wen Yunyang hurriedly said. Now that the Hall Master had personally admitted it, everyone had nothing to say. At this time, Wen Yunyang's heart was filled with emotions. With Ji as the new Hall Master, their Azure Water Branch Hall's status and reputation in the southern region would soon change. As for the other Tongxian realm experts in the Kanglin Empire who felt the commotion, they only knew that a spirit profound realm expert had finally appeared in the Kanglin Empire. They did not know that the commotion came from the direction of the Azure Water Branch Hall. After all, they did not know where the Azure Water Branch Hall was. This made it even more impossible for them to know that the commotion came from Ji. Even so, it still caused a huge commotion. After all, it had been a long time since a spirit profound realm expert had appeared in the Kanglin Empire. Azure Water, Duke Zhuang Tianke, Qinyuan Martial House, Master Morongzili, Kanglin Empire Academy Principal Gao Huan, Qingxian Sect Master. They were all madly guessing who this expert was. The only thing they did not expect was that this person was actually Ji. At this time, Ji was slowly feeling the changes brought about by breaking through to the spirit profound realm. Other than the great increase in spirit, energy, and spirit, there was also some improvement in the physical body. Next, Ji deliberately flipped through many books related to martial arts. Because he had almost no understanding of the spirit profound realm, especially the cultivation realms above the spirit profound realm. He did not even know what realms were above the spirit profound realm. After being reminded by Murong Zili last time, he felt that it was necessary to properly understand these things. Ding! Host has flipped through books for 1 minute. Silver level memory gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! The host has flipped through the book for 1 minute. Silver level memory experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations to the host. The silver level memory has successfully broken through to greater mastery. After spending an entire night, Ji finished reading a lot of books on martial arts. She also made a breakthrough in her silver level memory. He now had a detailed understanding of the spirit profound realm. Now that he had reached the spirit profound realm, he didn't just need to cultivate profound qi to break through. There was also a requirement for spiritual power and soul power. However, with the strength of Ji's current mental strength and soul force, even if she didn't continue to increase her mental strength and soul force, she would still be able to break through to the 9th level of the spirit profound realm just by relying on her profound qi. After all, his gold ranked spiritual power and his soul power that was far stronger than an ordinary person's couldn't be described with common sense. After that, it was about the cultivation realms above the spirit profound realm. Above the spirit profound realm, there were 3 more realms of cultivation: the human profound realm, the earth profound realm, and the sky profound realm. According to the books, the human profound realm was the gradual refinement of the original profound qi in the body into a purer and stronger profound qi. The primary aura formed by the profound qi was many times stronger than the original profound qi aura, no matter if it was in terms of lethality or defense. As for the earth profound realm and the sky profound realm, almost all of the books only mention them briefly. They only knew that these 2 realms existed. Ji was sure that above the sky profound realm, there were definitely higher realms. However, just by relying on the Tsanglan branch hall's information, She didn't know that there were higher realms. Only when she walked out of the Kanglan Empire and onto the big stage of the entire southern region, Ji-Yu's horizons would be broadened and she would know more things. At this moment, Ji-Yu already had an idea. Wait until the succession of the throne and the matter with Manor Master Morong was over. Also, her own duties would be settled. When the time came, she would find an opportunity to come into contact with the big stage of the southern region. She definitely wasn't willing to be a frog at the bottom of a well. Chapter 431. On the second day. In other words, the throne change would begin tomorrow. They had to prepare to leave today. Ji-Yu finished her work in the morning and left in the afternoon. However, they were riding Wen Yunyang's black, feathered, demonic eagle. After all, Ji-Yu could not let Xiao Gu be someone else's flying tool. Besides, Wen Yunyang, Yin Ming, and Yin Jie did not have the guts to do so. At this time, Ji-Yu, Xiao Gu, Wen Yunyang, Yin Ming, and Yin Jie, a total of 5 people, prepared to leave for the royal palace. When Xiao Gu stood on the black, feathered demonic eagle, the demonic eagle's entire body kept trembling. As one of the best third-ranked demonic beasts, and one that had been tamed by Wen Yunyang, the black feathered demonic eagle already had some intelligence. As a demonic beast, it instantly felt the aura of the calamity skeletal dragon. Not only was it suppressed by the dragon's might, but it was also suppressed by demonic power. The black feathered demonic eagle did not dare to move at all. Only when Wen Yunyang gave the order and it confirmed that the calamity skeletal dragon had no intention of attacking did it slowly rise into the air. About 3 hours passed. It was already evening, and they had just arrived at the royal palace. This clearly showed the difference in speed between the black feathered demonic eagle and Xiao Gu. If it was Xiao Gu who brought Ji-Yu from the Azure Water Branch Hall to the royal palace, it would only take around 10 minutes at most. Moreover, Ji-Yu had never seen Xiao Gu get serious. After all, there was no one in the entire Kanglan Empire that could make Xiao Gu get serious. She did not know how terrifying Xiao Gu could be when it got serious. Looking down from the sky, one could see that the royal palace was bustling with people, as if they were all preparing for the throne change tomorrow. Normal people would not be able to see the things below from such a high position, but Ji-Yu was different. His amethyst pupil had reached the third realm, see through reality. It was very easy for him to look down from such a high altitude. At this time, the black feathered demonic eagle was descending. The people below were very busy and almost did not notice a black shadow descending from the sky. It was not until the black feathered demonic eagle's descent caused a huge commotion that they were alarmed. It immediately caused a panic. Only when a Tongxian realm expert of the rank of a general appeared did these people return to their positions. This general's name was Zhuangzhe. The Duke of Navy Waves had informed him beforehand, so he knew the origin of the person on top of the demonic beast. Distinguished guests, please come in. Zhuangzhen naturally had to find a place for the 5 of them to stay. Furthermore, he had heard that a spirit-profound realm expert had appeared in the Azure Water Branch Hall yesterday. He was very curious as to which of the 5 was it. First of all, he eliminated the young man and the little girl. After all, he couldn't see how high their cultivation levels were. He did not know what the Azure Water Branch Hall was thinking. For such an important matter, they actually brought 2 children along. Then, Zhuangzhen's gaze fell on Wen Yunyang, Yin Ming, and Yin Jie. He felt that all 3 of them could possibly be newly advanced spirit, profound realm experts. In particular, the one who could control the black-feathered demonic eagle was the most likely. With this, Zhuangzhen tacitly agreed that Wen Yunyang was a spirit profound realm expert. General, you're too polite, Wen Yunyang said with an amiable smile. However, just as Zhuangzhen was preparing to find a place for the 5 of them to stay, a familiar voice sounded. Ji-Yu, why are you here? He saw Zhuang Wei ran walking towards them, looking at Ji-Yu with a face full of surprise. Ji-Yu? When Zhuangzhen heard this name, he immediately felt extremely shocked. This young man from the Azure Water Branch Hall was actually that Ji-Yu? No wonder he felt that this young man was a little familiar. Zhuang Zhenan was able to understand. For a peerless genius like Ji Yu to be brought along by the higher-ups of the Azure Water Branch Hall was considered normal. However, even so, he did not feel that Ji Yu was the new spirit profound realm expert. The throne change is such an important matter. Why can't I be here? At this time, Ji Yu smiled. The makeup in front of her eyes was not like her usual manly attire. Instead, she was wearing an elegant green palace dress. Suddenly, she became a devastatingly beautiful princess. Chapter 432. But who are these people? Zhuang Weiran looked at the people beside Ji Yu, especially the little girl. She cared about her the most. I am the Deputy Hall Master of the Azure Water Branch Hall, Wen Yunyang. You must be the sixth princess? Wen Yunyang said respectfully. That's me. Zhuang Weiran nodded slightly. Her gaze turned strange. Deputy Palace Master of Songlan? I am Deputy Palace Master of Songlan, Yin Ming. I am Deputy Palace Master of Songlan, Yin Jie. At this time, Yin Ming and Yin Jie also said. Zhuang Weiran's expression was stiff. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. The three of them were Deputy Palace Masters of Songlan, and Ji Yu seemed to have come with them. Could it be that Ji Yu had been controlled by Songlan? Zhuang Weiran couldn't believe it. She couldn't help but grab Ji Yu's hand. Come with me. Xiao Gu didn't want to be separated from Ji Yu, so she followed. I heard that the sixth princess was interested in Ji Yu. It seems like it's true. Zhuang Zhen unrubbed his chin as he watched Zhuang Weiran's actions. After all, they're all young people. When Yunyang laughed, they had a tacit understanding. They didn't intend to disturb Ji Yu and Zhuang Weiran. After that, Zhuang Zhen arranged a place for the three of them to stay. At the same time, on the other side, Ji Yu was being forcefully pulled away by Zhuang Weiran. What are you doing? Ji Yu couldn't help but ask. Zhuang Weiran stopped. She turned around and said solemnly, Ji Yu, you might not know that you're being controlled. I'll bring you to father now. He'll have a way to deal with this. Hearing this, Ji Yu immediately smiled. You're thinking too much. How can I be controlled? No matter what, I will bring you to father first. Zhuang Weiran felt that it would be too troublesome to explain. She wanted to bring Ji Yu to father first. I think you must have misunderstood something, Ji Yu said as she was dragged away. However, Zhuang Weiran didn't say a word. She just pulled Ji Yu and walked quickly in a certain direction. I'm already the Azure Water Branch Hall Master. Who else can control me? At this time, a very calm voice sounded. Hearing those words, Zhuang Weiran's footsteps stopped. She was stunned for a while before she came back to her senses. What did you say? Zhuang Weiran stared blankly at Ji Yu, thinking that she had heard wrongly. I said, I'm already the Azure Water Branch Hall Master. Who else can control me? Ji Yu repeated. Hall Master? Zhuang Weiran's eyes were filled with disbelief. Yes. Ji Yu acted as if she was talking about a trivial matter. She said calmly, so you don't have to worry. I won't be controlled by others. Zhuang Weiran was still in disbelief. She really wanted to know what happened to Ji Yu while she was separated from Ji Yu. It hadn't been that long, but Ji Yu was already the Azure Water Branch Hall Master. However, Zhuang Weiran was indeed relieved. I'm just worried about you. At this time, Zhuang Weiran suddenly pouted. All right. Don't be so mushy. Ji Yu couldn't stand such mushy words. She had goosebumps all over her body. No matter what, it's good that you are fine. Zhuang Weiran smiled. All right. Zhuang Weiran suddenly thought of something. Her gaze turned to the little girl behind Ji Yu. Who is this? She's called Xiao Gu. She's considered my younger sister. Ji Yu introduced her briefly. Didn't you attract her because you want to flirt with other girls? Zhuang Weiran teased. As expected of you. You can actually make a move on such a young girl. Don't you dare slander me. Ji Yu immediately retorted. Also, don't think that she is really young. Ji Yu immediately added another sentence. If they were to really compare age, Xiao Gu was at least 10 times older than Zhuang Weiran. Did I say something wrong? Zhuang Weiran's tone was full of meaning. If you think so, then so be it. Ji Yu couldn't be bothered to say anything else and said casually, "I'm just kidding." Zhuang Weiran smiled. Ji was speechless. Chapter 433. Xiaogu didn't care that Ji Yu and Zhuang Weiran were talking about her. She looked like she didn't care about anything at all and only focused on eating the candy. Zhuang Weiran already thought that Xiaogu was cute, and now she felt that Xiaogu was even cuter. "Come, little sister, let's sister hug you." Zhuang Weiran couldn't help but want to hug Xiaogu. But Xiaogu reached out a hand and blocked Zhuang Weiran. "Human woman, don't touch me." Xiaogu's tone was unfriendly. Zhuang Weiran was slightly stunned. She's not a human. She's a demon beast that transformed into human form and doesn't like to interact with humans. Jiu explained. As he spoke, he stroked Xiaogu's silver hair. "Then aren't you a human too?" Zhuang Weiran immediately said. "Then I'll say that she doesn't like to interact with strangers." Jiu added. Xiaogu didn't say anything. She obviously agreed. But to her, to be precise, other than Jiu, she didn't like to interact with humans. All right, although Zhuang Weiran really wanted to hug Xiaogu, she could only give up for now. Also, Xiaogu's true identity surprised her. She was actually a demon beast in human form. She had only read about it in an ancient book. Legend had it that there were demon beasts that could transform into human form. But that was just a legend. She didn't even know what kind of demon beast it was. This was the first time she saw a demon beast that could transform into human form. "The throne change has just started. You guys can stay at my place tonight," Zhuang Weiran said. "Sure." Jiu nodded. Then, Jiu and Xiaogu followed Zhuang Weiran to her place. Zhuang Weiran wasn't a pretentious person about the Kanglan branch. Since Jiu said that it was fine, she didn't say anything else. Halfway through the journey, "You should know some facts about the throne change tomorrow, right?" Jiu suddenly said. "What facts?" Zhuang Weiran said with a face of confusion. "Since you want to play dumb, let me tell you the truth about the succession of the throne." Jiu said calmly. In the past, he had noticed that Zhuang Weiran would occasionally reveal a slightly sad expression. Although it was hard to detect, his soul perception was very sharp. Especially today, even though Zhuang Weiran looked fine on the surface, she was in low spirits. This was the minute detail that Jiu had caught from Zhuang Weiran's expression and tone. If it had been anyone else, even a Tongxian realm cultivator, they might not have been able to notice it. There's no need. Zhuang Weiran knew that there was no need for her to hide anymore. "I do know the truth. Whether it is my father's lifespan or that ancestor who is several hundred years old, I know everything." Zhuang Weiran's tone was mixed with complicated emotions. Ji was silent for a moment, then said, "Then who will inherit the throne tomorrow?" "I'm not sure." Zhuang Weiran slowly shook his head and said, "Before my father decided on the next Duke of Canglan, no one knew about this." "I understand." Ji nodded. He felt that with how much the Duke of Canglan doted on Zhuang Weiran, he would not let Zhuang Weiran inherit the throne. After all, once she inherited the throne, she would only have 10 years of lifespan left. But there was no way to say for sure. They could only wait until tomorrow to know the result. "Are you worried about me?" Zhuang Weiran suddenly asked. Ji subconsciously looked at Zhuang Weiran, only to see an interesting smile on his face. "If you think so, then so be it. If you think so, then so be it." But Jiu's answer was very calm. "Then I think so." Zhuang Weiran laughed. It seemed like a joke, but in reality, she felt very warm inside. His gloomy and sorrowful mood from before also eased a lot at this moment. Hearing Zhuang Weiran's words, Jiu did not say anything else. What he was thinking in his heart, perhaps only Xiaogu, who was the subject of his soul contract, knew. No matter what, Jiu had to get rid of that ancestor. This kind of scourge would only cause endless trouble in the future. It could even threaten Jiang Yuechu and the others. Ding. Host has taken a step. Earth rank superior movement technique, shadowless lightning flash, gained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding. Host has taken a step. Earth rank superior movement technique, shadowless lightning flash, gained experience. Won by 999 times. About 10 minutes later, Ji Yu and Xiao Gu followed Zhuang Weiran to the residence. Before this, Qi Linger, Cheng Ye, and Cheng Jiangjiang had also stayed at Zhuang Weiran's residence. Chapter 434. Ji Yu, you should stay in the same room as before. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran was arranging rooms for Ji Yu and Xiao Gu. Then, Xiao Gu will stay in the room opposite Ji Yu. Is that all right? No. Xiao Gu immediately rejected. I want to stay with Ji Yu. I don't want another room. Zhuang Weiran was in a difficult position. She looked at Ji Yu as if asking for Ji Yu's opinion. Let's do as she says. Ji Yu said, all right, you two will stay in the same room. Before she could finish her sentence, Zhuang Weiran realized that something was wrong. Did you two stay in the same room before this? Zhuang Weiran asked. Yes. Xiao Gu answered casually. Ji Yu didn't deny it. Zhuang Weiran's expression became strange. Ji Yu, seriously, you can't be interested in such a small thing, she whispered into Ji Yu's ear. What are you thinking about? Ji Yu was speechless. She flicked Zhuang Weiran's forehead. It's good that it's not true. Zhuang Weiran chuckled. I almost thought that you had such a weird fetish. Don't think about such nonsense all day. I'm going back to my room to rest. With that, Ji Yu walked into his room. Xiao Gu also immediately followed him in. When they were in the room, Xiao Gu suddenly asked, what's the weird fetish that woman was talking about? I don't know. Ji Yu's mouth twitched. Even you don't know? Xiao Gu didn't think so much. Since Ji Yu said so, she didn't care about it anymore. The reason why she asked was because she was curious about the so-called strange fetish. After that, Ji Yu started to cultivate the purple glazed eyes. He wanted to achieve the third stage of the purple glazed pupil, which was at the level of seeing through illusion and reality by the end of the day. Ding! Host has read the Amethyst Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Amethyst Pupil Experience gained. 1*999x. Ding! Host has read the Amethyst Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Amethyst Pupil Experience gained. 1*999x. Late at night, Ji Yu's Amethyst Pupil finally reached the third stage of the seeing through reality realm. Xiao Gu had long since fallen asleep. At this moment, he was already in a deep sleep. Ji Yu also fell asleep. Tonight, Xiao Gu's sleeping posture was better. At the very least, he didn't torment Ji Yu as frequently as usual. The next day, today was the day of the change of throne. Ji Yu and Xiao Gu followed Zhuang Weiran as they headed towards the location where the throne exchange would take place. It was not in some grand and luxurious palace, nor was it a very mysterious place. This was an ordinary square. Of course, this was only ordinary when compared to those incomparably luxurious palaces. The most special thing about this plaza was that it was extraordinarily large. At a glance, the entire plaza was filled with a sea of people, as if there was no end in sight. After all, the throne exchange was taking place today. It was such a grand day, regardless of whether it was the slightly famous forces or the commoners of the palace. They would all gather at the palace. This kind of plaza, which could hold at least 10,000 people, was indeed the most suitable location for the throne exchange. Not long after, Ji Yu met up with Wen Yinyang and the other 2 vice palace masters. This plaza was very clear. For example, Ji Yu and the others were at the front of the plaza. He also saw the people from the Qianyuan Martial House, the Kinglan Empire Academy, and the Qingxin sect. They were all standing near him. Naturally, he also saw Master Morong, a few elders from the Martial House, and Gao Huan's group. In the area behind Ji Yu, judging from their attire and strength, it was obvious that they were all people of high status. As for the more ordinary civilians, they were at the back of the line. As for the people in the middle, they were preparing for the throne exchange. The Duke of Kanglan, Zhuang Tianke, General Zhuangyin, 6th Princess Zhuang Weiran, and other members of the royal family as well as high-ranking people had all appeared. Chapter 435. At the same time, Murong Zi Li Gao Huan and the others naturally saw Ji Yu. Murongzi Li directly walked toward Ji Yu. Gao Huan, on the other hand, glared fiercely at Ji Yu. He really wanted to find Ji Yu for revenge. But Ji Yu still had 3 Azure Water Branch Hall Deputy Hall Masters. Moreover, this was still the royal family's territory, so he didn't dare to rashly make a move. At this time, Gao Huan suddenly realized. The 3 Deputy Hall Masters appeared, but why didn't he see the Azure Water Branch Hall Master? He looked around. Including Ji Yu, there were only 5 people there. Could it be that little girl was the Hall Master? Gao Huan had never seen the Azure Water Branch Hall Master before. He only remembered that it was a girl. He also didn't know that the Azure Water Branch Hall Master had changed not long ago, nor did he know that it was Ji Yu. So he mistakenly thought that the little girl was the Hall Master. But Gao Huan still felt that it was strange. He couldn't detect the slightest bit of cultivation aura from this little girl. Perhaps the Azure Water Branch Hall Master was unfathomable. This could still be barely explained. Besides that, this little girl's appearance was also very special. Suddenly, Gao Huan discovered that the other party turned around and coldly glanced at him. Look again, and this lord will gouge out your eyes. At the same time, there was a tender voice from the depths of his heart. Gao Huan was immediately frightened. He quickly shifted his gaze. This time, he was even more certain that this little girl was the Azure Water Branch Hall Master. At this time, Murongzi Li had already arrived beside Ji Yu. The two chatted for a while. At this time, everything was ready. Next, it was time for the Azure Water King, Zhuang Tianke, to announce the new king to the public. I really hope that the eldest prince can become the new Azure Water King. He is modest, low-key, and friendly to the people. This possibility is not high. It is obvious that the second prince and the 5th prince are more suitable to be king. I think the 6th prince is not bad. Speaking of which, where is the 6th prince? Who is that girl beside the Azure Water King? She is so beautiful. The people below the stage were all discussing who the new king would be. Even though Zhuang Weiran was no longer dressed as a man, they still didn't know that the 6th prince was actually a woman. After all, they couldn't recognize that this woman was Zhuang Weiran. However, just as Zhuang Tianke was about to announce the new king, a great gas suddenly rose from the ground and appeared in the air. Then, a strange sound was heard. This king has finally seen the light of day again. This movement immediately alarmed everyone present, and they all looked at the gray gas in the air with a shocked expression. What happened? What was that? Even Zhuang Tianke was shocked. Patriarch, he cried out in alarm. His words were shocking, and the entire crowd was in an uproar. Ancestor, are you talking about that cloud of gray gas? How is that possible? Even the previous Duke of Navy Tide had already. This is what the Duke of House of Storms said himself. It's probably true. At this moment, Zhuang Tiang's expression was both shocked and ugly. He knew that the ancestor would most likely appear today, but he didn't expect it to be so soon. He wasn't sure what would happen next, and he wasn't sure if he could still control the situation. At this moment, Ji Yu looked up at that cloud of gray gas and couldn't help but frown slightly. Through the amethyst pupil, he could faintly see a sinister and strange face in that cloud of gray gas. Not bad, there's so many people. This king will be able to revive soon. That cloud of gray gas laughed strangely. Hearing this, Zhuang Tianke was stunned and felt that something was wrong. At this moment, a bloody light suddenly appeared on the ground. A bloody light illuminated the blood fiend. A ray slowly appeared from the ground. Seeing this, Zhuang Tianke instantly understood the severity of the situation. Everyone quickly escaped from the palace. He shouted with all his might. At the same time, most of the people present didn't react and were still standing there in a daze. Only a small number of people were fleeing in a daze. Zhuang Tiang's expression was extremely ugly, because this was the long-lost forbidden array of the royal family, the Blood Fiend array. The ancestor had absorbed the lifespan of every Duke of Navy Tide in order to activate this Blood Fiend array. The ancestor's method was more ruthless and ruthless than what they had imagined. Once the Blood Fiend array was fully activated, apart from the Almighty of the Spirit Profound Realm, no one could escape. But Almighty of the Spirit Profound Realm, there wasn't a single one present. Wait a minute. Zhuang Tianke suddenly remembered that 2 days ago, someone from a Navy Tide Hall broke through to the Spirit Profound Realm. He hurriedly looked towards the Navy Tide Hall's people and urgently wanted to know if that Almighty of the Spirit Profound Realm was present. Zhuang Tiang's time was almost up, and his strength was no longer at his peak. If he was at his peak, he could still barely contend with the ancestor. But now he was simply not his opponent. He could only hope that the Almighty of the Navy Tide Hall would be willing to help. Chapter 436. Zhuang Tianke looked over with hope. However, he discovered that there were only 3 Vice Palace Masters, Gu, and a little girl present. That Spirit Profound Realm expert was not present. His hope was instantly extinguished. Zhuang Tianke felt despair. He did not have much time left. After all, he did not have much time left to live. However, he did not want to see so many innocent people being slaughtered by the Great Blood Fiend array. On the other side, Jiyu saw the Blood Light array appear on the ground. A system notification sounded in her mind. Ding! Host has taken a look at the 6th rank array, Great Blood Fiend array, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have successfully comprehended the 6th rank array, Great Blood Fiend array. Jiyu instantly comprehended a lot of information related to the Great Blood Fiend array. This Great Blood Fiend array was a long-lost taboo array of the Kanglan Empire's royal family. It could devour a person's flesh. That massive gray gas was the so-called ancestor. Activating this Great Blood Fiend array was obviously to use the flesh of the people present to reforge the body. Not only that, Jiyu also knew the method to break the Great Blood Fiend array. The method was very simple. That was to use one's spiritual perception to find the eye of the array. Then, one would use one's spiritual power to cut off the connection between the array and the caster, which was the ancestor. However, this required one to be at the Spirit Profound Realm and have a high level of spiritual power. Otherwise, if a cultivator did not meet this requirement, it would be useless even if they knew the method to break the array. Ding! Host has activated spiritual power. Spiritual soul power obtained experience, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Host has successfully broken the 6th rank array Great Blood Fiend array. Array attainment obtained 999 times experience. Ding! Congratulations, host. Array attainment has successfully broken through to Superior 3rd rank Array Master. Ding! Congratulations, host. Array attainment has successfully broken through to Inferior 4th rank Array Master. Breaking a 6th rank array directly caused Gu to soar to 4th rank Array Master. At this moment, the Great Blood Fiend array that was about to take shape suddenly disappeared. Zhuang Tianke was stunned. Why did it disappear again? The Patriarch in the gray gas couldn't help but exclaim, "What's going on?" He had just felt that something had suddenly cut off his connection with the Blood Fiend array. In the blink of an eye, the Blood Fiend Grand array disappeared. However, he soon found it. It was the black-clothed youth in the crowd who had done it. "Brat, although I don't know how you did it, since you ruined this king's plan, this king will make you pay the price." With that, the ancestor rushed toward Jiyu. Jiyu, be careful." Zhuang Tianke and Zhuang Weiran were both shocked. Only Murong Li's expression didn't change, because she knew that Jiyu was already at the Spirit Profound Realm. "You want to possess me?" Jiyu immediately saw through the other party's intentions. This was exactly what he wanted. The corners of Jiyu's lips curled up. He stood there motionlessly, allowing the gray gas to enter his body. "No!" Zhuang Weiran screamed at the top of her lungs. She looked on helplessly as Jiyu was attacked, but she couldn't do anything. At this moment, it was as if something in her heart had fallen. and she felt heartache. However, Jiyu's expression didn't change at all. Ding. Host soul has been invaded. Soul power gained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding. Host soul has been invaded. Soul power gained experience. Won by 999 times. After 3 seconds, the ancestor's soul was completely destroyed by Jiyu's soul power. At this moment, a scream of panic and despair came from Jiyu's body. It sounded extremely miserable. The ancestor's soul must have encountered something extremely terrifying in Jiyu's soul. Hearing this scream, Zhuang Tianke, who was originally in pain, was at a loss. What's going on? What happened? Zhuang Tianke couldn't react in time. Zhuang Weiran was also stunned, not even noticing that tears were flowing out of the corners of her eyes. This old fart is gone. You can continue with the throne exchange. At this moment, Jiyu said, Chapter 437. Just as Zhuang Tianke was in shock, he suddenly felt his cultivation realm loosen up. In the next moment, he broke through to the spirit profound realm. It did not stop at all. Mid first level, late first level, peak first level, until the peak first level of spirit profound realm. Only then did it gradually stop. Feeling all of this, Zhuang Tianke's face was filled with disbelief. How did he suddenly break through so many realms? Not only that, Zhuang Tianke also felt that his lifespan had increased by hundreds of years. This is just that after the old man's soul completely disappeared, he returned the cultivation and lifespan that was originally taken from you. Seeing Zhuang Tianke's expression, Jiyu explained. So it's like that. Zhuang Tianke was extremely shocked. The old ancestor was actually killed, and it was killed by Jiyu. Lord Palace Master, are you all right? At this moment, when Yin Yang, Yin Ming, and Yin Jie hurried over. Earlier, Palace Master Ji told them to leave first and not worry about this place. And now that Palace Master Ji was already a spirit profound realm expert, there was no need for them to worry. They naturally obeyed. Just as they realized that the commotion had stopped, they rushed back. I'm fine, Ji replied. Lord Palace Master? Hearing this title, Zhuang Tianke instantly understood something. The Lord of the Kingland Branch Hall was actually Jiyu. Zhuang Tianke was in disbelief. At the same time, he suddenly thought of something. Could it be that the almighty expert that broke through to the spirit profound realm the day before was Jiyu? Zhuang Tianke vaguely remembered that Jiyu was not yet 18 years old. At such a young age, she was already a spirit profound realm expert. In comparison, his title as the #1 expert of the Kingland Empire was simply a joke. Zhuang Tianke laughed at himself and shook his head. At this moment, Jiyu discovered that the old ancestor's soul still had a lot of energy left. This energy, other than Zhuang Tianke, was the lifespan and cultivation of the previous Azure Water Kings. Because those previous kings had already passed away, this energy could not be returned to its original owner. And Jiyu could not absorb it herself, because she was not a direct descendant of the royal family. Since that was the case, Jiyu's gaze landed on Zhuang Weiran. Just give it all to her. With that thought in mind, Jiyu used her will to transfer all of the energy to Zhuang Weiran. As for the other direct descendants of the royal family, Jiyu didn't even consider them. After all, he was only slightly closer to Zhuang Weiran. Jiyu also realized that when the patriarch's soul had just appeared, most of the members of the royal family had run away faster than anyone else. There were only a few members of the royal family present. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran was astonished to feel that her cultivation had suddenly increased. All the way to Tongxian realm, and it was far from the end. LV1 of Tongxian realm. LV2, Tongxian stage. LV3, Tongxian realm. LV4, Tongxian realm. LV5, Tongxian realm. In the blink of an eye, he had broken through to Tongxian realm LV5. Furthermore, Zhuang Weiran was not the original owner of this energy, so she could not absorb it completely like Zhuang Tianke. She could only absorb a small portion of it, and then waste most of it. Even so, his cultivation had soared by so much. If he could absorb all of them, it was possible for him to break through to the spirit profound realm. After all, this was the lifespan and cultivation accumulated by the previous patriarch, and the amount was terrifying. At this moment, Zhuang Wei Ran was at a loss, completely unaware of what had happened. She had mysteriously become a LV5 Tongxian realm expert, and even gained a few hundred to 1,000 years of lifespan. Everything happened so suddenly. The Tongxian realm was different from the spirit profound realm. Every time he broke through, he would release a powerful aura, and Zhuang Wei Ran had continuously broken through so many realms. The aura that erupted was like a stormy sea, wave after wave, each wave stronger than the last. The entire palace trembled violently because of this. Is this because of the patriarch's soul again? Zhuang Tianke asked Ji Yu in shock. That's right. That thing is useless to me, so I gave it all to her. Ji Yu said simply and directly. Hearing this, Yin Ming and Yin Jia were extremely envious. They immediately regretted going against Ji Yu. If they had thought of ways to please Ji Yu from the start, they might have been able to get some benefits this time. Even when Yin Yang was a little envious. After all, this could allow one to soar to the sky. However, the three of them did not know. This energy could only be absorbed by the direct descendants of the royal family. Chapter 438. With so many things happening in such a short period of time, most of the people present could not take it anymore. Their hearts were already shaken to the point that they could not take it anymore. Now that the scene was in a mess, Zhuang Tianke did not plan to continue with the complicated process of the throne change. He directly announced that the sixth princess Zhuang Weiran would take over the position of Duke of Tsanglan and become the new Duke of Tsanglan, and announced it to the world. Actually, before Ji Yu solved this matter, Zhuang Tianke was prepared to let any of his sons inherit the throne, except for Zhuang Weiran. Becoming the Duke of Tsanglan was not a good thing, especially since he only had 10 years left to live. Zhuang Tianke did not want his daughter to follow in his footsteps. Not only was the ancestor's soul resolved, his daughter's cultivation had also reached the 5th level of Tongxian realm. Among his children, there was no one more suitable than Zhuang Weiran to inherit the throne. In the end, although the throne change was hastily ended, it left a deep impression on everyone present. What happened today, they would probably never forget it in this lifetime. Today, 3 shocking news shook the entire Kanglan Empire. Duke of Tsanglan Zhuang Tianke broke through to the spirit profound realm. 6th Princess Zhuang Weiran broke through to the 5th level of Tongxian realm. 6th Princess Zhuang Weiran inherited the throne. No matter which one. Countless people were shocked. That day in the palace. Now, should I call you Your Majesty the Queen? Ji Yu said with a smile as she looked at the beautiful woman on the throne who was wearing a phoenix robe made of golden silk. No. Zhuang Weiran shook her head and said playfully, You should call me Weiran. At this moment, she did not have the slightest bit of arrogance in front of Ji Yu. But at this moment, someone barged in from the outside. Zhuang Weiran immediately regained the temperament of a queen and said coldly, What's the rush? Your Majesty, there are many forces gathered outside the palace. A small official hurried in and bowed. What do they want? Zhuang Weiran frowned and asked coldly. They said that they are here to propose a marriage alliance with Your Majesty. That small official hesitated for a while before carefully opening his mouth. Marriage! At this moment, Zhuang Weiran glanced at Ji Yu and his lips curled into a smile. Go out now and tell them that I already have someone in my heart, and announce it to the world. That man is Ji Yu. Hearing this, the small official looked at Ji Yu in shock. It took him a while to recover from his shock. Yes. After that, the official immediately ran out. At this moment, Ji Yu was both surprised and speechless. Is this really okay? What's wrong with that? With your strength, do you still have to be afraid of those guys? There were no outsiders in the palace. Zhuang Weiran returned to his smiling self. Or do you think that I'm purely using you as a shield? Ji was speechless again. For a moment, he did not know what to say. He did feel that Zhuang Weiran was purely using him as a shield. Other than that, what other meaning could there be? Every word I just said is true. Zhuang Weiran's tone suddenly became serious. You're really something. Ji sweated. It did not matter if this guy was deliberately teasing him or telling the truth. He had already gotten himself into trouble with this guy. If there's nothing else, Xiao Gu and I will go back first. At this moment, Ji said, there was still some of that ancestor's soul origin energy in his body. He planned to properly absorb it when he returned. After absorbing it, his soul energy should be able to increase by quite a bit. How can it be nothing? Zhuang Weiran used an extremely seductive tone to tease him. Don't you need me to serve you tonight? Then forget it. However, Ji was completely unmoved. This guy was trying to tease him again. He would not fall for it. After that, Ji held Xiao Gu's hand and left the palace. Zhuang Weiran, who was sitting on the throne, looked at Ji Yu's back as he left. Her beautiful eyes were filled with emotions. Chapter 439. Ji didn't directly return to Azure Waterbranch Hall. Instead, she went to Qianyuan Martial House first. Manor Master Murong told her to look for him today. However, it was almost nighttime. She didn't know if she could make it in time. At this moment, Ji looked at the sky. Today was indeed the night of the lunar eclipse. The moon in the sky seemed to be slowly being devoured by something and would disappear soon. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ji used her movement technique and quickly arrived at Qianyuan Martial House with Xiao Gu. She directly went to the Violet Gold Branch Hall to find Manor Master Murong. She could see that Manor Master Murong was looking at the starry sky with his back facing her. You really came. Murong Zili turned around and said when she sensed someone walking in from outside. Come up, Murong Zili said. Next, you will know what is going on with this Manor Master's cultivation. After speaking, she slowly turned around and continued to look at the starry sky. Hearing this, Ji Yu quickly walked up. She walked to Murong Zili's side. Ji Yu still didn't know what was going on and just looked at the starry sky like Murong Zili. In the sky, other than the moon that was about to disappear, there were only a few stars constantly shining. As for Xiao Gu, although he didn't understand what was going on, he also learned to do the same. Why does Manor Master keep looking at the night sky? Ji Yu couldn't help but ask. You will know in a moment. Murong Zili said softly. Ji Yu could only wait patiently in the face of Murong Manorhead's riddles. After a while, the moon was completely devoured. It had almost completely disappeared into the night sky. At this moment, Ji Yu wanted to say something, but she noticed that something was wrong with Manor Master Murong. Two purple marks appeared on both sides of Murong Zili's face. Her delicate body slightly trembled. What is going on? Ji Yu couldn't help but ask in surprise. This is the curse of my Murong clan. Murong Zili's tone was nonchalant as she said, no member of the Murong family will ever be able to break through to the spirit profound realm. That's why I've been stuck at peak mystic and lightning stage for 5 years. Furthermore, every lunar eclipse, the curse will erupt just like what you're seeing now. After hearing this, Ji Yu was momentarily at a loss for words, because at the same time, a system notification sounded in his mind. Ding! The host has discovered the curse of the Murong clan, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully comprehending the solution to the curse seal. Ji Yu found a solution through the system. She found out that this was because Murong Zili and the entire Murong family had been cursed. This curse was passed down from generation to generation, and no one was spared. Furthermore, the cultivation manual for the violet glazed pupil bloodline was also missing. The Murong clan only had the first half of the cultivation manual. In other words, everyone in the Murong clan could only cultivate the violet glazed pupil to the second realm, seeing aura as real. Coincidentally, cultivating the violet glazed pupil to the fourth realm, violet glazed divine transformation, was the only way to remove this curse. Not only would this curse accompany her for eternity, it would also erupt every lunar eclipse. The head would be in extreme pain, and it would continue until the lunar eclipse ended. If it was light, she would faint, and if it was heavy, she would die. What made Jiyu surprised was that Murong Zi Li's expression didn't change at all. She was actually able to withstand this curse without any expression. Clearly, Murong Zi Li's willpower was incomparably tenacious, far surpassing normal people, and she might have already gotten used to it. This lunar eclipse would probably last for 3 to 5 hours, so Jiyu didn't want to just watch. But even if she gave the second half of the violet glazed pupil cultivation manual to Murong Zi Li now, it would be too late. If she wanted to cultivate the violet glazed pupil to the realm of violet glazed divine transformation, even with the 999 times cultivation system, she would need at least several days. At this time, letting Murong Zi Li temporarily cultivate the violet glazed pupil was clearly not feasible. Jiyu thought with all her might, but she barely managed to think of a stupid method that wasn't really a method. That was massaging the head. At this time, she could see that Murong Zi Li's forehead was covered in cold sweat. She was clearly forcefully holding on. Jiyu used a clean white cloth to gently wipe off the cold sweat on Murong Zi Li's forehead. Then, he used both hands to lightly press on both sides of Murong Zi Li's temples. Seeing Jiyu like this, Murong Zi Li's face suddenly revealed a trace of doubt. Clearly, she didn't understand why Jiyu was doing this. However, Murong Zi Li didn't resist, because Jiyu's actions did make her feel a bit better. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.